okay, doctor, you will just go and do hot things. Where is it?
Turn on your video, let me see.
No, you cannot see me right now because I'm so scruffy. It's unimaginable. I can't just imagine.
I'm not complaining.
You will just be doing things
Happy
like
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Kisses. Happy New Year.
Good.
Really? I gained weight.
No. Let me just come and be learning. You should tell me how you do it.
Happy New Year, Queen E.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Finally,
You're not planning to write your part 2 again, are you?
No, in short, the fact that January is flying faster than I can imagine. I was supposed to have sent my supervisor or something. Is it
not national you're doing?
Yes, national.
When is deadline for submission?
No, I'm not doing again this major. It will not happen. I can't rush the man. If I could, I would have rushed him and said, okay, let me do
Sure, you know you're recording. Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great.
I said, so you know you are recording.
Yes, it doesn't matter. That's why I stopped talking. Okay. So I need you to share right now, right? Share what you have.
What am I sharing? What I'm sharing from where?
You are going to share the citations, the 3 citations. Then I shared Dr. Lafi's slide with you. It's from Google Drive. So you download that into your laptop. Then Dr. Ejiro's, Dr. Mary's slide also, I sent it to you.
Let's go one step at a time. The first thing you mentioned was what?
The citation. So start with Dr. Sage's citation.
Where did you send it to?
I sent it to your Gmail also.
My Gmail?
Yes.
Let me go to my Gmail. Dr. Sage's profile. Yes, I've seen that.
So download that into your system. You can create a folder for all of them so it's easy for you or quick access. Where you can
my problem is that I've been trying to open Zoom on my laptop. It's been impossible. I don't know why.
Oh, shit. Are you serious?
Yes.
Because yesterday I was trying to.
I'm trying to save it. Okay, I've saved it to my drive. Let me see if I can open it from my drive.
Okay, try.
So that's Osage's citation.
Yes.
Then Leanne's citation. I'm saving that to my drive too. Leanne's citation. Those are the 2 citations I have. Okay, Ejiro.
Yeah.
Wow, this is too long. Oh, Jesus.
No, so we're going to summarize. Okay, I'm not taking that one. So you're going to summarize that her own. She's Mwan, present Mwan National Treasurer. So you have to.
I hear what you said. Say it again.
Dr. Ejiro Umweri, she's the present M1 National Treasurer.
Okay.
So by the time you are taking that, you have to summarize it. So you look through as you are reading and just take the salient point and just say, oh, she's this, she's that.
You're not very audible.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, wait, let me do my volume again. Just
so I've seen the 3 citations. Let me try sharing and see if I can share from here. From Google Drive.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Great, better. I'm also going to just log in with my laptop. Just in case. I'm waiting to see the citations on your screen.
I'm trying to get that done.
Okay, great.
It's asking me to sign in to
Yes,
see,
you have to
edit,
sign in.
create, delete, or
Oh. Where's your M1 sash?
I didn't come with it though. I forgot it.
Oh, come. Where are you?
Hmm?
Where are you?
I had to. I moved out from the house because I didn't want a power failure to affect my work.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I have Osage's share screen.
Oh.
Can you see that? Can you see my screen?
Yes, excellent. Great. Great. Good.
Hers is
So
very short.
yes, so just a summary. Her profile, I think I made up that this profile from her CV for one of
Okay,
the
my
programs.
wahala is how do I get back to the
So stop
original
share.
page? Yeah.
So stop share.
Oh, we have some people joining us already. Hello, Best. You're welcome. Hello, Kelvin. You're welcome. Hello, Tiema Ababio. Good to have you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Queen E, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm going back to try sharing something else.
Share PowerPoint. Just share the first of Dr. Lafay's. You can share the first of Dr. Lafay's PowerPoint.
No, this is a very long process. The PowerPoint was sent via
So Dr. Oseti just sent a message that she wants to be the second speaker.
Hi. Are you guys here? Hello?
Hello, I'm still here, Chum. I'm still here.
Hey, okay. So just let me know when you want me to share the screen.
Yeah, Dr. Laffey, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good evening.
And I have about an hour for this meeting,
Okay.
just to let you know.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, that's just awesome because there's just a change of plan and you're going to be our first speaker.
Okay, great. That works out a lot better for me.
Okay. Yes. Yes. So we'll be starting in about 9 minutes.
Yeah, sure. So can I
Okay.
go ahead and share my screen, the PowerPoint?
Yes, we'll let you know when to share.
Okay.
Yes. Just hold on. We'll let you know. Let me make you a co-host now. Great.
Okay.
Great. So you can share your screen. Once it's time, we'll introduce you and then we'll let you know when to share. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, sure, that's fine.
All
No
right,
problem.
then. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, look,
Welcome.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go get some coffee and
All right, then.
I'll be back in.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. You're welcome to today's program. I can see one of our speakers is already here. Queen E, are you still there? Dr. Ivo?
Yes, Chum, I'm here. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'm here.
Dr. Lee Ann, you're welcome. Dr. Yetunde, good evening, ma'am. Can you hear me? Welcome our dear participants to today's webinar. We welcome one of our speakers who is already here, Dr. Leanne Lafer. Welcome, ma'am. Happy to have you here. I can see Dr. Williams, Dr. Yeti Doc. She's a member of the Mwan YDF National CME Committee and the Assistant National Coordinator of the CME and webinars. Dr. Yeti Doc, good to have you, ma'am. You're welcome. Welcome, Empress. Welcome, Christopher. Welcome, Funke. Welcome, Sandra. welcome. Huda Bello. Dr. Vivian Obonna, you're welcome. Happy to have you here. Ibukun Eboji, you're welcome. You're all welcome. We'll be starting shortly in 5 minutes. Empress, you're raising your hand. Is it on purpose? Empress ST, your hand is raised. Is that on purpose? Welcome, Jesse Tanko. Glad to have you all on board. We'll be starting shortly in 4 minutes.
So
Welcome all those who are joining us right now. I can see someone from Mwan Rivers. We acknowledge your presence. You are welcome. Thank you for joining in. Azizat, you're welcome too. Thank you for joining in. We'll be starting
thank
shortly
you.
in 2 minutes. Hey, Tommy, you're welcome. Dr. Derry Bibe, you're welcome, sir.
Can't I hear them? No, I can't. Hello?
For the participants here, welcome. Please, we would like you to kindly drop your name and your M1 chapter or state of participation in the chat box as part of the attendance. Participants who have joined in, please kindly write down your name and your state where you're participating from in the chat box as part of the attendance. Thank you very much. It's 5 p.m. and we'll be starting shortly. Dr. E,
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are
Glad
you
to
guys?
have you.
Happy to be here.
We'll be starting shortly.
Sure. No problem.
National YDF coordinator, ma. It's 5 p.m. Can we start?
Whenever you guys like, I'm good.
Dr. Ivo, you're muted.
Okay, yes, Dr. Chama, we're good. Nice to have everyone here. Welcome, everyone. Nice to have you here.
Okay. We'll be asking one of the participants to share the opening prayer with all of us. He's male, and he was one of the first people to sign in today. We'll be asking him to share the opening prayers because before we start off, if we don't mind. Kelvin, over to you.
Thank you very much. Let's pray. In Jesus' name,
Amen.
everlasting Father, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this program that you've organized using men and women. We thank you because you know it's going to be a success. At the end of the day, we'll have far-reaching information that will take us far in our respective domains in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
Our colleagues that are yet to come onto the platform, ask, O Lord, that you touch their hearts and bring them here to be able to benefit from all what we'll be discussing today. In the mighty name of Jesus, I've prayed.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Ifeanyi, Kelvin, Ebuchelem, for the opening prayer. It's nice to have you here. We have so many M1 male champions here supporting us this evening. So glad to have you here. I'm just going to give an opening remark so that we can start up immediately. So the M1 National President, Dr. Mini Oseji, and every other national executive present, NMA executives and representatives present, our distinguished speakers for today, Dr. Lafi and Dr. Mweri, esteemed state YDF coordinators, vibrant YDF and NIMSA members, and every other guest present. I especially welcome you to the first of the YDF webinar series in 2020. YDF stands for Young Doctors Forum and is comprised of every female medical and dental doctor under the age of 40 years old or 40 years. Before and even after the age of 40, females have so much to juggle in their academic, family, social, and religious lives, and in their careers and businesses. They're the popular meme of men and women on the racetrack to the top of their careers, with the men having their tracks clear of any obstacles, while the women run an obstacle race, with the obstacles including laundry, the kitchen, children, etc. With a myriad of activities to juggle, it is usually easy to let our career slip and postpone that examination, postpone that master's program, postpone that course that would make you eligible for a promotion to the next year. And we keep on postponing. A lack of funds to achieve our dreams make the obstacle race we run as women even slower. This webinar is therefore designed to get us all on track for 2021 and beyond. We cannot clear away all the obstacles on our tracks, but we can learn how to deftly navigate those obstacles to achieve our dreams as women. Our first speaker, Dr. Seji, speaks from a wealth of experience, as she has been denied educational opportunities due to lack of funds. Yet she got scholarships and fundings soon after. She has and is still fully maximizing her Nigerian and foreign postgraduate education to better the world. Dr. Lafi is committed to the academic growth of girls in STEM and has success stories abounding. Dr. Mweri successfully went through the same course most of us in residency are on now and can help us avoid all delays and roadblocks. Yesterday, a woman whose skin is the same color with mine, a woman whose skin is the same color with yours,
became the first female vice president of the United States of America. Tomorrow, one of us here can become the first head of the World Health Organization, the first female president of Nigeria. It is certainly achievable. The Medical Women's International Association has stated that in this triennium, young women, young doctors are our inspiration and our future. I fervently hope that this webinar will pave the way for a successful future for M1YDF members and indeed every person who joins in as we heal. Thank you very much, Dr. Evonimo Isievo-Aje, M1YDF coordinator. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you so much, ma'am, for that brief and warm welcome. And yes, we have a lot to aspire to as women.
Already they have a Zoom meeting.
And we are happy what just happened with inauguration, and it's a last shattering experience, and it tells us as women that those things are possible in spite of all the challenges that you listed, the laundry, the kitchen, and all that. Yes, we can.
Yeah, off my
Thank you.
video. So no, please see me.
Without much ado, we'll be starting off the program by inviting the first speaker.
We have Dr. Rafi as our first speaker now, please.
Okay.
Please share her profile.
I'll need you to make me co-host to be able to share.
I've done that already. Please share her profile.
Okay, 1 second. One second.
Welcome our National President, Dr. Seiji. She's here with us. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here with us.
I heard your beautiful speech.
I'm learning from you, ma.
Welcome, ma.
Thank you so much, ma.
Well done, YDF.
Dr. Choma, have you gotten it now? Have you gotten her profile?
Yes, I'm sharing. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'll be introducing our first speaker this evening. She is Dr. Lee Ann Laffer. She's the CEO of Global Academic Scholar Services, a global leader in educational development. Please, can we mute our microphones? Please?
I'll take care of it, don't worry, go ahead. I'll take care of it.
Dr. Leanne is a global leader in educational development, serving on the advisory boards or prize-awarding committees of multiple African enterprises. She has worked as an online professor of cultural diversity with Department of Flexible and Distant Learning at the University of Florida for the past 8 years, where she has taught undergraduates from a wide range of majors about recognizing diversity in its most vast sense in all walks of life as a valued commodity which brings together people from different cultural backgrounds. Her work centers around cross-cultural connections and building of global teams. She has offered courses that help future and current engineers, businessmen, scientists bridge the gap between cultural differences across the globe. Additionally, she has worked in corporate world leading diversity training initiatives for educational institutes in both the United States of America and abroad. For 10 years now, she has worked as a branding and marketing specialist for NLA Incorporated, where she instructed corporate executives about pitfalls of multicultural marketing. In recent years, she has dedicated her time to philanthropic efforts in which she has helped many young entrepreneurs apply for funding and investor assistance in Ghana, Tanzania, Uganda. She is also a co-founder and CEO of Global Academy Scholar Services, a social enterprise dedicated to enhancing the educational opportunities of international students and developing the STEM leaders of tomorrow so that they may impact their respective countries' economic and intellectual growth in the future. She has been an advocate of global student relations and international curriculum design. Dr. Lafe has been a college admissions and essay coach for 4 years and has helped numerous international students successfully to apply for university admission and obtain full ride scholarship to schools such as Johns Hopkins University, Davidson College, Whitson and Lee University, to mention but a few. Dr. Leffer has offered numerous workshops across Africa based on understanding the college admissions process and what colleges look for in an applicant. Also, how to improve your overall CV, keys to successful entrance essays, and step-by-step guidelines and timeline for preparing successful admission and scholarship applications. Global education is a critical part of the development of the mind, and we need to express ideas from different perspectives to be able to reflect and engage in many points of view. Without much ado, I would like us to go ahead and welcome our first speaker this evening, Dr. Lee Ann Lafe. You're welcome, ma'am.
Hi. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be a part of your organization and your workshop and to share some different ideas on fellowships, scholarships, and admissions process, as well as the keys to successful applications, whether it be to a graduate program or to a fellowship or to obtaining a scholarship. So I'm going to touch upon a few different aspects today, specifically addressing sort of motivation letters or personal statements, letters of recommendation, and basically what the keys to successful applications are. I will also share with you some websites that offer scholarships, that offer connections to masters in public health. I know that there was a lot of interest in this. If you're considering doing any type of medical residency or medical fellowship in the United States, you do have to receive US accreditation. So I'm not an expert in that, so I will probably leave that alone. But I do know that you do have to receive the accreditation, which is passing a series of tests in order to qualify for anything that has patient contact. However, we have a lot of other fellowships and admissions programs that are research-based that do not require this type of certification. So I will probably stick more with those for today. First off, I just want to share with you guys the key factors to gaining acceptance to any graduate program or scholarship or fellowship in the United States and fairly much in Europe as well. Test scores and language requirements, we'll talk about those a little bit. Clear personal statement or motivation letter that outlines who you are as a person, as a medical professional, what you hope to achieve by gaining acceptance to the program of your choice. We'll talk a little bit about what makes a great letter of recommendation, who should write them, and what should it address. And we'll talk a bit about how you can demonstrate your qualities and expertise that match a program that you're applying to. So the three key topics for today are: what test scores and language requirements are there? What makes an effective personal statement or motivation letter? And what does a great letter of recommendation entail? So we're going to talk a little bit about these minimums and how we can reach them. If we are able, or if an applicant is able to reach these levels at a good place, your chances for being accepted are so much higher. What happens is a lot of people just don't know the steps. They don't know the minimums that they need. They don't know how to craft an effective personal statement that will really help a person stand out. So this is very important to understand the process and understand what schools or fellowship programs are looking for in the United States, because there are a lot of opportunities, especially today, as the initial speaker mentioned. We're so happy with the new inauguration and the new vice president, and a change in viewpoints from the US. So this is a wonderful thing that we're entering into. So I want to talk a little bit about what tests are required and how someone should prepare for these tests. First off, if you're going to apply to graduate programs in the United States, generally speaking, you need to take the GRE, unless you're involved in business or law, or if you're wanting to apply to medical school, then you would take the MCAT. However, most of you are already finished with medical school or are nearly finished with medical school. So the test that you would probably be most likely to take is the GRE. The GRE is the graduate record exam. This test allows you entrance into a wide variety of graduate programs in all different areas in the United States. It tests your general knowledge and your ability to communicate with the different programs and different levels, whether it's verbal or quantitative or analytical writing. It shows your abilities. I don't know, somebody is making little lines, almost looks like a child is drawing on the PowerPoint. Just
I
to give
think
you guys
that's
a
Zoom
heads up.
streaks. It happens with
Okay.
Zoom
It's
Zoom
kind of
meeting. It
weird.
just happened. Yeah.
Okay. Just so you know, I'm not doing it. So I want to talk a little bit about the average GRE scores. These are like 154 verbal, 148 quantitative, and a 4 analytical writing. Of course, your goal is to get above these. You always want to be at the high end of the scores so that you can preferably stand out when it comes to scholarship material or fellowship material for graduate programs. But these are sort of a good guideline. If you're interested, because there were a few people that want to connect business or like medical technology to their medical degree, they might take the GMAT, which would be for MBA. And that an average score is about 685. The test that everyone will take is either a TOEFL or an IELTS to demonstrate English proficiency. And the TOEFL, sort of a minimum score for graduate education, is 95, but preferably over 100. The IELTS score would be 7, but preferably higher if possible. These are sort of good minimums that will help you in your path. Okay. To talk a little bit about the ideal personal statement or motivation letter is very key today. So the key factors in any personal statement or motivation letter are to express who you are as a person. You want to include details about what makes you unique, your experiences, your personality, your expertise. You have to tell people this in a unique way. And you almost have to craft a story about yourself or an obstacle that you've overcome, something that gives the reader a hook, something that helps the person in admissions to say, I want to keep reading this application. I want to know everything there is to know about you and what can you bring to my program? Because remember, it's not about what you're interested in, it's also about what you can bring to a given school. So a certain academic institution may have research in a specific area that's connected with your interests. So they want to see what can you do in your research, or what have you done in your research that connects well with them, okay, and their research. This is critical when we're talking about graduate admissions in, especially in the sciences, is how do your research agendas line up with the research agendas of the professors that are in a given institution. Next, we want to talk about who you are as a professional. We want to include details in this personal statement or a motivation letter about your coursework, about your research, about your achievements. Maybe you discovered something, or you published an important paper related to a specific area of research, and you have a select area of expertise that you want to continue to pursue in your graduate studies, whether they be in a specific area like biology or chemistry or biotechnology or medical research, or maybe you want to go on and study public health or public health science diplomacy type situations. How do you connect with these programs? This is very, very important. So how do you see yourself fitting into your desired program, and what commonalities do you have? So the match is very, very important. How you can, as a person, connect with specific faculty in a given university, okay? What are your career aspirations, and what benefits can you gain and share back with your society in Nigeria? So the really important thing is to convey to the readers of your application, how are you going to change the world with this knowledge? What is this knowledge going to do to benefit you as a woman of science? What is this knowledge going to do to benefit you as a medical professional? And how will you take that and use that information, whatever you gain, in your respective town or city or small community? So making these connections are really important, and a lot of people fail to do this in their personal statement or their motivation letter. What admissions people don't want to read is, I'm interested in this research, blah, 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 but then you don't have a purpose with your research, okay? You have to show the purpose. The purpose is one of the most important aspects of your application, whether it's for a graduate degree, a master's, or a PhD, because with your MD, you can apply to a lot of PhD programs directly. You may also find funding at certain master's programs, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. I want to move on. Okay, so framing your work and academic experiences. And this is kind of a self-check for everyone who's considering applying, is, are you participating in at least 3 education-based activities? So are you involved in independent research? Are you involved in this organization? Are you an active participant? Because this is a key activity. Are you doing something in your community to support community-based health or community-based health education? These things are really important in your application. Are you building a layer to the foundation toward admission? So have you initiated a project? Have you found results from a project? Have you published those results from a project? Okay, sort of this step-by-step process. Are your activities and coursework connected? Meaning, Are, are you linked? Are you linked to what you want to study? Have you been doing, for example, let's say you were doing research in hepatitis C. I advised someone who did active research in hepatitis C and developed an educational campaign for informing the public about protecting themselves against hep C. And then they went on to apply to graduate studies in public health, dealing specifically with hepatitis C, just as an example. Okay, so again, do your activities contribute to the building of your career and contribute to the building of your society or improvement of society for the health of your population? And can admissions counselors learn who you are from your statement? This is probably the most important question to ask yourself when writing about yourself is, what is it that the admissions counselor gets about me? Who am I? And one way to really check about this is to send your statement, either your motivation letter or your personal statement, to some people that don't know you, and then ask them, tell me about myself, or yourself in this case. So you want them to basically say, what did they learn from your personal statement? And if they are not clearly telling you what you wanted admissions counselor to know, then you need to go back and write some more. You have to go fix some stuff, because obviously there's a lack in communication of your vision of yourself and how you're expressing that vision to the admissions counselor who will be reading your application. Okay. And this applies, I don't care if it's a fellowship, I don't care if it's a master's degree program, a PhD program, or just a scholarship opportunity. So, there's a lot of different fellowships, especially for medical professionals globally, that require you to write about yourself. So these are really beneficial questions that you should ask before you ever submit any piece of writing that details who you are. Okay. Next, I want to talk about this because the letters of recommendation are critical in any application. And I find outside the United States, most people don't have a solid grasp of what needs to go in a letter of recommendation. How specific should it be? What should it reference? And how do you communicate this information effectively to the person that's going to write you this letter? Okay. So, oh wait. Okay. I think we're okay now. So I want to talk a little bit about the secrets to writing effective recommendation letters and what you should be asking your recommenders to include. So, and the people who matter for these things. So what should be included in a letter? Who should write these letters? What tone should the letters take? How can we highlight the talents of the student applicants? And how to differentiate one applicant from another when most of their qualifications are similar? So this is really important information. We want to know who should write these letters. Well, first of all, if you're still in medical school, then your medical college professors should definitely be writing these letters. If you've recently graduated, you still should probably tap in to at least one letter from a college professor if you're applying to an educational or academic graduate program. If you've been graduated for a long time, let's say 10 years or more, and you have a solid career in medicine in your home country, then you should be asking people who are your superiors at your work, people who are your colleagues or equals, if they publish in a similar field, or they have shared research initiatives, okay? For the medical students, the things that really, really need to be included in these letters written by your college professors are your GPA or your academic marks, whatever system you use. If you use a percentile-based system, then we need to know you scored 90% out of 100 and you were a top 10 student in your class. If your scores are more like, in some countries, they use good, very good, excellent as a grading system, then you would want to explain that as well. If your school or university uses A's, B's, and C's, that's pretty self-explanatory to US people and Europeans. So you just want to make sure that people understand the system that you are a part of and how those things are ranked. The next is they should really talk about your leadership or motivation. What do I mean by this? If you're in a medical school class and let's say you were doing a rotation and you're a very talkative student and you're always well-read, well-informed, and you can answer the questions very quickly, you want that college professor to express that. You want them to express your initiative and your desire to communicate your knowledge to others and help others. People that write these letters should know you personally. What do I mean by that? I don't mean that they've had you over for dinner, but they should have a good working rapport with you, a good working relationship. You should attend their office hours. You should ask questions. I know we're in times of COVID, so perhaps you're asking questions via email or via Zoom, however they're conducting their office hours or answering questions. You still need to make sure that this professor knows who you are and that they're writing about you specifically, okay? It's great to pick a professor from a class, a course that you did really well in. So a course that is your passion, a course that you were able to learn incredible amounts of information from. These are the professors that are going to write you the best letters of recommendation, okay? Who else can write you a letter of recommendation? Well, if you're still in school, mentors are also very valid sources. And what do I mean by that? Mentors are people that you've collaborated with, people that maybe you did a research project with and they were the guide. Mentors also could be people that have already directed an internship or a fellowship that you've done in your home country. So these are key people, and you most definitely want to share this information, and you want them to tell about your success, tell about what you've done in a positive way. Okay, so I want to talk a bit about elements of a solid recommendation letter. So you can easily pinpoint what stands out about an applicant from the letter, meaning the person can write clearly and effectively in English. If the person does not have a great command over the English language, I urge you to have them write it in their native tongue and translate, okay? If they struggle, it's much better to have them effectively communicate and then have the letter professionally translated and stamped, okay? You also want to make sure that your recommender is telling a clear story of their relationship with you, meaning were they your professor, were they your research advisor, were they a colleague, were they your superior in a hospital, were they your lead resident, and therefore they were instructing you in some capacity. This is important, the relationship that they have with you. You also want to make sure that they can express the personal experience, performance in class and lab and research. What can they tell us about you and your abilities? Are you skilled in developing medical technology or research in molecular biology? Are you skilled in bedside manner and person-to-person, patient-to-patient interactions? Or are you looking for a research position in the sense of you have great clinical skills in doing research in cancer pathology? Mind you, this is not my area of expertise, so I'm just giving some random examples. All right. The next thing is a solid academic connection with the student, meaning the recommender needs to be able to talk about your skills. They need to be able to highlight what you do well and how you do it. Okay. The letter needs to convey your unique accomplishments. So if you focused on a specific research project and it yielded specific results, you want that person to talk about that research. You want him to talk about your process for conducting the research. You want him to talk about, or her to talk about, how you can continue this research, why this research is important, how it might benefit the program to which you're applying. All right. Okay. Now, I want to talk about some different websites, and I have more listed below, but I want to talk about how do you find and evaluate programs and fellowships. This is a key thing. So niche.com, I don't know if you're familiar with, they have tools for searching graduate schools, and you can find out their rating, you can find out their specializations, you can find out their score requirements. You can then have a direct link to the individual schools themselves so that you can see if you're a great match for a given program. I like to use Niche as a general tool. It's a very informative tool, and it gives a guideline for what is out there. All right. And this is for, like, say you want to research, you're very interested in gaining a PhD in molecular biology, or you're very interested in specializing in anatomy and physiology but in a PhD program. You can find information about this on niche.com, or public health, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. The next is opportunitydesk.org, which I hope you all are familiar with. This is probably the greatest website for all Africans in every type of opportunity, whether it's a fellowship, whether it's a scholarship, whether it's an employment connection. On this site, you will find basically everything. I love Opportunity Desk. They generally give you the specifics, and then provide you a direct link to the application process. They offer a lot of different short-term opportunities for all different people to connect globally. And I like this very much. And UTHOP, it's very similar to Opportunity Desk. It also provides links and is constantly updated. I mean, multiple times a day. Each one of these people update the site multiple times a day with different types of opportunities. And you can specify what you're looking for. So there are filters, which is nice. I want to move on a little bit. So some fellowship type links to explore. These are actual links to, and some of them, if I click on them. So medical related fellowships or scholarships, this one's the Eagleton. Its deadline for this current year has passed, but it is for people who would be interested in a fellowship that is related to medicine and politics, science and politics. Someone who's very interested in STEM diplomacy, global health, connections on how to learn a lot in the United States about our process and our different procedures when it comes to basically science diplomacy, any type of science diplomacy initiatives. But it's one that you should check out and just get a feel for, because it will come back next year. The deadline just passed. There are definitely a lot of fellowship opportunities with AAAS, American Association of Advancement of Science. These opportunities are often 6-week summer programs. Sometimes they're 3-month programs, sometimes they're 6-month, and sometimes they're 1 year. And they offer a variety of fellowships. None of these would require board certification in the United States for medicine, because they would be more research-based or educational-based. And so it allows for people with international medical degrees to apply and successfully receive these opportunities. This is another great opportunity, and this is a program that the gwu.edu. This is just a great link for informative international medical research programs. This one, it has some funding available, but what a lot of times it will allow people to do is to prepare to become board certified in the United States. It's sort of a preparation program. And this one, if people are actually interested in practicing medicine in the United States, is a good program to check out. And then this is another one, this worldscholarshipforum.com. It's for people who might be interested in doing medical school scholarships, or for people who might want to seek out fellowships in the US, in medicine specifically. Okay, so you guys have all these slides actually. I want to talk a little bit about these two websites, which are the last two that I will address today, because I also want to take people's questions. This is, each of these are resources for Masters in Public Health scholarships. They list a number of programs that offer either fully or partially funded scholarships in public health. And a lot of times, even if it's not a full scholarship, sometimes if people receive a fairly large scholarship, then their government will match to complete the rest, because it becomes beneficial to the country itself. I've seen that happen in a number of African nations, where the person received, say, 3/4 funding, and then their government matched the other 25% to allow them to participate, because they committed to returning and to developing programs specific to their nation's needs. So each of these actually provides, each of these is a link, and they actually provide information about specific scholarships available at different US universities, and a few abroad, I believe. I would like to just talk briefly and generally about two more things before I take questions from anyone regarding any type of admissions procedures, especially in the United States. Is when we have admissions in the US, our admissions are not funneled through one application portal or one application process. We are university specific admissions. So if you're interested in a program, follow some of the earlier links I mentioned, find out the school that offers the program you're most interested in, and then go directly to their website to find out their specific funding opportunities. Again, if you are capable of applying to PhD programs, your chance of funding is a lot greater. Master's programs, it depends. Some have very good funding and some not so much. You can also check out the Gates Foundation. I don't have a link for that, but you can probably Google the Gates Foundation. And they're offering scholarships to Africans fairly regularly in a variety of areas of expertise. So now I'd love to take a few questions that anyone has. And that's it. Thank you. And I hope it's been informative for you guys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Laffey. This has been more than informative. This has been Oh goodness, it has been so enlightening. Thank you so much for putting these resources together for us. We have gotten a lot of information that most of us did not know about. If not, we should have taken advantage of it. And we hope that we won't just hear about it, but would also pursue them and take advantage. And we can come one day and say, oh, because of this webinar and Dr. Leanne, we were able to get this. Thank you so much. So because of time, and Dr. Leanne has just an hour with us, so she's going to be leaving us by 6 p.m. We're going to be taking her questions now before we take our next speaker, our M1 National President. So please, if you have any question, please raise your hand or type your question in the chat box if you have a question, and you'll be called on. So please just raise your hand and let us know if you have a question for Dr. Leanne. She'll be leaving us very soon. Okay, so AB, you have a question. I'm just going to.
Yes.
So yes, so please, you can unmute yourself and speak, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you for the presentation. I have a question regarding should I say maybe the personal statements or the admission process. Say for instance, you did like for me, I did I did my bachelor's in the US, and then I came back to Africa, which is Nigeria, to do medical school. So am I supposed to like write about all that in my personal statement? And then when applying, am I supposed to put all those information? Like, should they be included in my application?
Yes. Okay. This is a great question. Where did you do your bachelor's degree in the United States?
I did it in Benedictine University in Illinois.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Yes, I would definitely say you want to make reference to that because Benedictine is a Catholic university, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it may help you in some ways if you're applying, especially to a master's or a PhD program at a Catholic institution, to show that you already attended and graduated from a Catholic institution. The fact that you studied a bachelor's degree in the United States is very good and can definitely help you with proceeding in the United States for other opportunities, because you've sort of already proven yourself as an undergraduate in the US. So I would definitely in my personal statement make reference to at least your major area of study and maybe one or two things that you did as an undergraduate that propelled you to go on to study medicine, and then definitely focus on what you've done since then. So you've already completed medical school?
Yeah, I'm almost through. Almost through.
Okay. So yeah. Yes, I would definitely reference that because it gives you additional credibility. So yeah, do not leave that off for sure. And it should go on your resume or your CV. Where you got your bachelor's degree, what your GPA was, did you graduate with honors? Did you have any kind of recognition or projects during that time at Benedictine? And then what you've done since then. I mean, the bulk of the letter should focus on what you've done since then and your research initiative that you're interested in today. But you want to include at least in, maybe 2 or 3 sentences about your undergraduate study because it's relevant to this.
Okay, ma'am. And also one more question, ma'am.
Sure.
Is it possible to apply for a PhD without a master's?
Okay, if you have an MD from a foreign institution, some schools will allow you to apply directly to a PhD if it's in a related subject matter. So you may be able to apply directly to, say, depending on your research agenda, you might be able to apply to a PhD program in molecular biology or genetics or something along those lines if your specialization in medical school and experience in medical school is related. Sometimes you can bypass that, or what they'll do is they will fast track you. So they'll still make you take the coursework for a master's, but they will admit you conditionally to the PhD program, sort of as a whole track.
Okay. Thank you,
And
ma'am.
that varies from school to school, for
Okay,
sure.
ma'am. Thank you,
But
ma'am.
good question.
Okay, so Dr. Leanne, we have another question here. Someone asked if there are scholarships for online master's programs. And if yes, do you still need test scores and language requirements for online master's programs?
Okay, a lot of the online master's programs do not require GRE test scores or English language proficiency test scores. Right now, most schools are not requiring them at all because of COVID, and it's
that's
very
good to
hard
know.
to do. Yeah. A few schools do offer scholarships for online masters, especially in public health, but usually they're limited. It's not a full scholarship in general. Very few online programs would I strongly endorse. A lot of the online only programs are, if it's for a master's degree, are at for-profit universities. You really want to stay away from for-profit universities. Now, if it's an online program at Johns Hopkins or an online program at Stanford or Harvard or Washington University or or a giant state institution, that's completely different. Those are fantastic. You just want to take care and make sure you do your homework about the reputation of a given school or university before you sign on to an online program, especially if you have to pay anything. So I just be very careful when selecting the institution for an online program, is what I'm trying to say. Yes, there are some scholarships, but in general, they are not fully funded for the online programs.
Okay, thank you so much, Leanne. I'm getting used to calling you by your first name.
Yeah,
so
please.
The next question is, I am aware that letters of recommendation tend to be anonymous and you may be unaware of what had been written. What is the way around this? Thank you.
Okay, that's a really great question. You do want your letter to be anonymous in the sense of you want to waive your rights to see the letter because it makes the letter more powerful. But you can go and talk with a person that you're asking to write you a letter, and you can softly tell them the kinds of things that the school to which you're applying is looking for. So you can softly ask them, can you please be sure to address our research relationship? Or can you please be sure to address, my performance in your course? Or can you please be sure to address how you see me as a leader? Because this school really values women in leadership positions. And since I worked with you or under you as let's say you were a lab leader or you were the lead resident, you want to make sure that that person includes that information in their letter of recommendation. Again, I urge softness and being very polite with the person that you're asking to do you this huge favor, because writing a recommendation is not a right, it is a privilege. It is done hopefully out of respect, that the person that's doing it respects you a great deal and they really just want to see you succeed. So another thing is you can always ask a question. You can say, hey, would you like me to share some of the information that this school says they're interested in hearing about with you? And then you can provide information to your recommender. What's commonplace in the United States is people will submit their resume to the recommender. They may submit their motivation letter or personal statement to the recommender. And they may even submit, criteria for the program to which they're applying, so that the recommender knows this is what the people are looking for. And you can do this, like I said, in a soft and very polite way. And I don't mean that because we're women, but because we need to make sure that we respect all people who are in positions of power, because they can help us and they can also very much harm us. And
Very
we
true.
want to make sure that we have them in our court, so to speak, that we have them on our side, so that we can progress and do the right thing and assume these roles that we're meant to assume. But that's a great question. I hope that was effective.
Very true. Thank you so much, Dr. Leanne. It has been awesome having you here. We've been on this journey since I think was this August or July,
Thank you.
and finally, and finally we
Sure.
finally get to have this webinar happen. So
And
I
if
so
you
much
have,
appreciate this. Thank you.
if
And
you're,
even we hope you can pop in towards the end because we know there are more questions. So you don't even have to. If you could just stay on, and if there are any questions, we could let you know. Thank you so much.
this is the other thing I was going to say is you can feel free to collect questions and send them to me in email,
Okay.
and I can try to reply.
Okay.
So that way they have the opportunity to think about things, and as questions come up in the next, few hours or day or something, you can feel free to send them to me in email and I'll try to reply to as many as possible.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Dr. Leanne. All right,
Thank
then
you
have a
so
great
much.
day.
Take care.
All
I
right
hope you
then.
have a wonderful day, and it was a pleasure.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yes,
Have a
thank
great
you.
day.
All
Go
right then,
women in
bye.
STEM.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So we've had our that was supposed to be our second lecture, but our national president asked to take the second position instead of the first, as she usually does. And now we have Dr. Minimim Oseji. All of us know her here. I don't need to speak too much about her. Her profile is already showing. I'm just going to say something. So someone spoke with Dr. Oseji today for 14 minutes, and he sent me a message and said, Evo, thank you for the opportunity. I have learned so much. And I have a personal word for it now. I think that's called the Oseji effect. We should have that, because you can't speak with her and not come away with something. Each conversation with her is a lesson. Each time, each encounter is not just a conversation, it's an encounter. Each encounter with her, it has to leave something with you. If you go away after meeting her without leaving something, then you need to check yourself. There's a barrier there that is not taking in something. But she absorbs, just being around her, you absorb a lot from her deliberately, and you don't even need to ask her and say, "Ma, please teach me." She just teaches. So Ma, we're so grateful to have Dr. Oseji here. She is
Thank
well
you.
read. She's a perfect person to teach us today about the impact of about what we are doing, planning our future, because she has been there. She has been there with the scholarships. She has been there with the webinars. She has been there. She has been there. She has both Nigerian and foreign postgraduate medical education. So if we need to learn, this is the best person to learn from. So Dr. Sage is going to teach us how to maximize the benefits of your postgraduate medical education, both Nigerian and foreign. Please give her a round of applause virtually. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ma, we can hear you.
How many minutes do I have so I know the speed with which I should fly through the presentation?
Ma, your normal speed, just fly. Just fly, please. It's supposed to be 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, Ma.
All
Thank you,
right.
Ma.
So I'll bear that in mind. I want to say that I am extremely delighted to be here, and I want to congratulate the YDF. You are all making us proud.
Thank you so much,
in
Ma.
this biennium with the various programs that you are coming up with. And I'm excited about the presentation after mine, which is on examinations, because one of the things I campaigned on when I was going for the position of president-elect was that we were going to come up with a system to get our young doctors who are going for exams properly groomed and mentored with tips so that they will be able to come out successfully. So I'm happy finally, even though it's 8 months to the end of our tenure, it is better late than never. So thank you, YDF, for getting this done. Now, my presentation is on maximizing the benefits of postgraduate medical education Nigerian versus foreign. And that's the topic. It sounds like a book that I wrote, which you will see later on. So my outline is that I'm going to give an introduction, then we'll talk about making a choice, mentoring, the extra mile, funding postgraduate programs, and then the book, medical skills and services database, Singapore's experience, Dubai's experience, Nigeria's experience that can be, and what it will take to have a Singapore, Dubai-like story, intramural practice, and then we'll have our take-home points. And so I will start in my introduction by giving the Wikipedia definition of education as the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, morals, beliefs, and habits. When I was doing my diploma in health systems management, we were taught about an ideal profession. And the ideal type description of a profession would have the following characteristics: a craft tradition wherein a specific body of knowledge and skills requiring an advanced training is available. And that is why a lot of people want to be doctors, but they can't be doctors because the process of becoming a doctor requires an advanced training. And it is after you have completed that advanced training and properly certified by the certifying body, which in Nigeria is the Medical and Dental Council, then you can enter into that craft of the medical profession. There's a mode of interest representation, a way of presenting the interests of the members to the public, a code of ethics. There should be peer control through a strict code of rules, a legal monopoly. Government regulates entry to the profession by law and specifies requirements for training and qualification, thereby restricting activities of other occupations in the field. Ideological monopoly, a means of enabling the profession to dominate the views on its subject and to make it widely accepted. These are the values, attitudes, and beliefs underlying a professional way of achieving and maintaining privileged status. Now, the ideal type description of profession can be used to compare and contrast the professional status of different occupations. The combination of these 5 factors produce the privileged status of professions in society, which can be assessed by wealth, wherein you get higher income as a result of a better position in the marketplace, prestige, the esteem in which the group is held by others, power, the ability to influence decisions and other occupations in the field. And so when you look at all these description of the ideal profession, the classical professions which best matches the ideal type description described are medicine and law. But a number of other occupations have also achieved professional status, which include architecture, engineering, chartered accountancy, teaching, nursing, and so on. So I'm going to ask some questions. Where do you hope to be in 10 years? I'd love you to post your answers. In 10 years' time, young doctors, where do you hope to be? What do you think? Where do you see yourself? What are you doing to arrive at that point or to achieve that? What are the likely challenges to prevent you from achieving that goal? And then how much increase in your income do you wish to have in 10 years' time, particularly through the profession? So all these are supposed to guide you when you're making all the choices. Now, what is the benefit of postgraduate education? Every form of education is an opportunity to build oneself for independent thinking and practice. Even the undergraduate education, unfortunately, it has been reiterated in Nigeria that our university education doesn't seem to prepare us for the job market. So there has to be a meeting point for the ground, that's the university, and the town, that is where the jobs are. So it's expected that if you have basic education, you should now be able to have independent thinking and do things on your own. So you don't finish an education and then you sit at home and tell your parents to start lobbying to look for a job for you. On your own, that education should be able to help you find a job on your own or create a job if you can't find one. So that ability for independent thinking and practice is what makes one attractive to prospective employers. Employers do not want
employees who have entitlement mentality. When you finally got the job, you just balance, and anytime they ask you to do anything, you just make it look as if they are doing you a favor. You have to be able to show that you have good work ethics. A career path that provides many options is a whole lot better than one that just has one pathway. And so you must look at yourself and say, even before you even choose medicine as a profession, what are the career paths? Where can I work? A lot of people are doing courses that if you ask them, when you finish the course, where would you work? They themselves will tell you they don't know. I've had to counsel young people and I said, can you ask your lecturers in the university to tell you places where you can work after you have graduated? And you still find out that they cannot answer. This is a big problem. So from the word go, while you are choosing that career, you should be able to look at many options. A visit to the location in which the job seeker is interested in working can help him or her understand the environment better, expose the possible gaps, and provide ideas for where the market is. It does not necessarily mean one will get a job from that experience, but the individual may just be lucky to get a contact. So you go to where people are likely to know about prospects for the job, and you mingle, and hopefully you will get the job you're looking for. Making the choice of study or postgraduate program or whatever course you want to do, it all starts with a choice. And institutions, typically overseas, provide information to potential students on postgraduate courses. Furthermore, it's very easy to obtain a prospectus which should be perused thoroughly. When I was doing my residency and I started having the urge to study outside the country to add to what I had gained within, and I used to request for prospectus, and they would just send it overseas to me. And I said, this whole thing with the print and everything, and they would post it with whatever mechanism. I said, doesn't it cost money? It was when I first got a course that I sponsored myself, I now knew where the money came from. The money comes from the fees. So they are ready to spend the money sending those heavy prospectus all over the world, because by the time they get the students who are going to be admitted, they would have factored it into the school fees. So it's actually the students that pay for those prospectus. There is also a vast amount of information that can be obtained via the internet. The cost and duration of the proposed program is very important. However, the most important issue is the career path that should come after the completion of the course. When I did my master's in public health services research, I went for the intro week, and I went for the intro week of the next batch, the next set, because I missed my own intro week because I went late. I had challenges in getting my student visa. So by the time I got there, we're 3 weeks into the course. So the first week of intro I missed. So what I did was that when I completed the course, I stayed on, and then I went for the intro of the next people. And then when we sat down in the place and they asked the class of about 30 people, what do you hope to use your qualification for? I was the only one that raised my hand. The remaining people did not know what they were planning to use. And these people have spent at least 5 million to get there. The course was, the 1-year master's course was about 3 million, 3.2 million was what I paid. And then the living expenses is about 2 million. So can you imagine that investment and you don't know what you're going to do at the end of it? But that is Nigeria for you. Typical Nigerian way of just following the bandwagon without counting the cost. So the most important issue is the career path. Prospective students must be very clear why they want to undertake a particular course of study. Then again, there is need to ask how the course fits into a person's dream of what or where they want to be, possibly in 5 to 10 years' time. It's worthwhile to scan a number of job adverts and determine what type of qualification is required, so as to tailor the educational pursuit to meet those requirements. So if you look at job adverts and you see all the qualifications that they request for, they say, oh, we prefer if you have a medical degree, will give you an advantage, a master's in public health will give you an advantage, a fellowship in obstetrics will be an advantage. Then you now have an idea. By the time you go through 20 to 30 adverts and you see where they are trending, that is the guidance that you need to say, okay, this is the one I most likely would go for. Many prestigious higher institutions of learning, they organize programs such as career fairs for prospective employers to meet prospective job seekers. And one reason that people seek to get qualification in foreign countries is the hope that they will get a lucrative job, such as working with an international organization. And there's also the practice of several international organizations to visit these institutions to recruit workers. When I was doing my diploma in tropical medicine, WHO came, advertised, gave us a talk, and at the end, those of us who were interested were interviewed, and so on and so forth. So I'll now go on to another aspect of education, which is mentoring, and the role of mentoring to maximize the benefit of your education, whether it's Nigerian or foreign. Mentoring is building the capacity of another person to do what one has been trained to do or has considerable experience in. It's different from training per se. It's a long-term process in which the mentor continues to provide technical and moral support to the mentee until the mentee is able to find their feet and become a mentor to others. So it's a continuous process. You give because you were given. It requires interest, trust, time, and hard work on the part of both the mentor and the mentee. I've had mentees that I've had to pay for them to go for courses. I've had mentees that I had to even help them to get passports and or join me as an accompanying person to attend a program so that they can be exposed, because I know that even if I speak, what they are hearing is different from what they will see and experience. Some individuals refuse to mentor younger persons due to selfishness or fear that the mentee will overtake them or usurp their function. Others refuse because of previous negative experience with mentees, the phenomenon of biting the hand that fed you. There are some potential mentees who are too impatient to learn enough that can enable them to work on their own. Whatever the drawbacks, mentoring should be encouraged and used as a way to measure the performance of one who claims to be an expert. So you cannot be a local champion and you are the only one. 10 years, you are the only local champion. You have not mentored anybody. There's no other person that can do, even if it's not half, at least 1/4 of what you can do. Then you cannot really be an expert. And then the family is the unit of primary socialization, and both the nuclear and extended family can stand to benefit from any individual's educational experience, particularly abroad. This may be through connections, networking, links and contacts to useful institutions and organizations, or through their helpful advice and their mentoring. The Yorubas are one of the major ethnic groups in Nigeria, have excelled greatly in this place. Just get a Yoruba man to Iceland or Antarctica. Before you know it, he has mentored and brought so many Bawoni speaking people all around. And that is what we should encourage. Some progressive ideas and strategies, which one may not be able to sell to adults who are in position of authority for implementation, can be passed on to children and youths who may be better able to impact their generation. At the end of my presentation, I'm going to be talking about a collaboration which we hope Mwan can have with NAD. I mentioned it at the NAD AGM on the 24th of September in O'Hara. And I said, look, I have been a fellow for, that was 19 years. Now it's getting 20 years. This year I'm 20 years a fellow. I think I am too old to do some of the things that are in my heart. So I'm excited that the young doctors are already coming up with all these innovative ideas. So I can just transfer them and then retire quietly and know that the vision did not die. So I go on to the extra mile, and in this case, I'm going to rush. What is the extra mile? In a nutshell, the extra mile is a situation where it takes 50 miles to get to where the average person wants to be, where the majority of the public in that particular setting will get to. But for you to really excel and soar to the top, you need the extra mile. That means if everybody is going 50 miles, you need to be ready to go 51 miles. So that extra mile is not extra miles. It's not 10 more miles other than the others. It is 1 mile, and that 1 mile means a little extra effort than the average person will give. And that means listening to Dr. Seji talk, when you could be doing something else. That means getting a recording of a webinar and going through it, as boring as it would be, to pick certain points that you can use for something else later. It means writing a proposal which could take you 3 days of sleepless nights. It means going for training and sacrificing money that you could have used to do your hair or buy your new clothes. All that constitutes the extra mile. And I have mentees who have gone through the extra mile with fantastic results. So quickly, I talk about Amos and Safe Waje. In our NGO Public Health Impact Research Center, he's the only one that was able to get sponsorship to go out of the country. And it was because he went the extra mile. Then we have Chiedu Wadiai Ezwem. She is my husband's niece. And she worked with me as a youth volunteer during her youth service. And I told her, because of how hard she worked and all that we were able to do together, I told her that I would take her as an accompanying person to the MWIA Congress in Ghana. And there she was in Ghana. And then after she went to Ghana, she got a scholarship to go to South Africa, a Bellevue scholarship. She entered the Bellevue competition, went to South Africa, just a holiday. But because of the kind of motivation she had, she still used it to do a 2-week course in South Africa, something like project management. And then by the time she now had a stamp of Ghana, trip to Ghana on her passport, and a stamp of South Africa on her passport, getting a UK visa was once. You know, there are some people who will try several times before they will get UK visa, but she got it at first attempt. And that was where she reunited with her husband-to-be, and he whisked her off to UK where she is now. We have Love Aludo, Samuel Oseji. The extra mile for Samuel Oseji was following me to Grand Hotel in Asaba, where we used to use the cyber cafe to apply for a scholarship to go to an AIDS conference in Washington in 2012. When they sent all of us in the NGO rejection that, oh, sorry, we regret to announce that we couldn't give you the scholarship. He sent it to me and I said, don't worry, son, that you have just understood the process of getting a scholarship. That's the most important thing. Now it will be easy. And without me knowing, I just heard he was going to living at Covenant University to go to Lagos and write an exam for Agbami scholarship. And the next thing was an email that he had gotten the Agbami scholarship. So did you see how the extra mile assisted him to get a scholarship? And with all that, he continued to apply for several things. But the one that fascinated me the most was when he applied for a work placement in the US. And he got it. There were many of them that applied, but he got it. And he graduated on the 24th of June, 2016. 3 days later, he was flying to the US to work in a park in Pennsylvania. And he worked and he was earning the equivalent of 750,000 naira a month. He did that for 3 months, came back and met youth service. And after that, he took off for his master's and is now working. So all that was because he went the extra mile. We have so many young people, and these are not doctors. You know, doctors are the most intelligent. So if these non-doctors can do it, what are we waiting for? So I want to find out, young doctors, in this biennium, how many of you have been able to, number one, apply for scholarship? Do you know that applying for a scholarship is a qualification, whether you get it or not? It's like the way we used to say attempted WAEC. At least you attempted. There are some that cannot even fill the first page of the scholarship application. So I am begging you, just start applying, whether you get it or not. Then getting it is another level. So there are various levels. And then after getting it, the next thing is applying what you learned after you have gone for the program or are coming back. And so this is me giving donations of my book to the Delta State scholarship recipients that we used to have during the previous administration. We still have the scholarship program in another form going on in this administration, but that one was particularly for first class graduates, and that was what we're doing. So for funding educational programs, all these are some of the experiences I have had receiving funding But like I said, it takes the extra mile. Extra mile was how we were able to get to Japan. That's me and Professor Kolo. Extra mile was how I was able to get a scholarship to attend the centenary conference of the Royal Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene in 2007. Extra mile through Dr. Elena Wadinobi, our international president. I got a scholarship to attend the International AIDS Society Conference on HIV and Science. And just as recently as last year, I had the opportunity to get sponsorship to attend the London Funders Forum. The story about it is a story for another day, but just know that extra mile was what it took. And so this is the book, Maximizing the Benefits of Foreign Education. It was inspired by challenges faced when attempting to translate foreign education into development of home societies. It gives several pointers on skills transfer from developed to developing countries, and it sells for £8, $10 or €10 or 1,000 naira. Half of the proceeds from the sale of the book is used to support research in medicinal plants in Africa. So why do we talk about Singapore? China visited Singapore to learn about their way of attracting investors. And the key was build up infrastructure like roads and railways, the key for the Singapore development, upgrade as many factories as possible, and improve the efficiency of their managers. So when they went for the tour, the president of China, he looked at the director of Singapore Economic Development Board, and after the tour, he said, "You have not told me everything. You must have a secret. China has cheaper land, cheaper water, cheaper power, cheaper labor, yet you get so many investments and we do not. What is the secret formula?" And the answer was that Singapore was safe and favored for investments because of safe political, economic, and other factors. There was no danger of confiscation. Our workers were industrious and productive, and there were minimal strikes. Our currency was convertible. So really, if we want investment in the health sector, we've got to find a way to stop going on strike. And then they said they always do study tours before they embark on any major project, whether it is to start a new airport or to change their teaching methods. They will send a team of officers to visit and study those countries that have done it well, so that they don't need to reinvent the wheel. Now, for Dubai, they said attracting foreign investment requires an accountable, transparent, and ethical government sector. Unless governments eradicate corruption, they will never attract foreign investments. And then they talked about the way they carried out their educational skills. They said, we should not settle with providing our youth with best schools, colleges, and universities. We must also provide them with specialized institutions capable of promoting their initiative and innovative spirit. We must help them develop their businesses and entrepreneurial skills. We must contribute towards transforming their bright ideas into successful ventures and provide the advice, investment management, and marketing resources to bring these ventures to fruition. So that is the secret. And if it worked for Dubai, it can work for Nigeria. They said excellence in investments will be achieved when investors succeed and make profits. We have been implementing PPP in Delta State, and I tell the public sector people that the private people who are bringing their resources, they need to make profit. So don't drag the money with them. If they don't make profit, they will not be there. And those who have paid dearly for it. So Nigeria can do it. And one of the ways is by looking at our training needs. First of all, we need annual training programs on basic things like routine immunization. You'll be shocked if you were an expert in immunization and you went to monitor and evaluate immunization services. You'll be shocked how many things are going wrong. So on a regular basis, we need to train health workers who are involved in maternal and child health. And I continue to focus on maternal and child health because if we get maternal and child health right, automatically, even the heniographies, the myomectomies, the appendicectomies, all of them will go well. The neurosurgical procedures, they will go well. If we can just get that basic right. So we need that. Basic life support, it's supposed to be compulsory for every doctor, nurse. Every doctor and nurse, every 2 years, we have to be doing refresher. We hear of a lot of people collapsing and just going. Many of them, before they could get to hospital, if CPR was done for them by trained health workers or paramedics, they would have survived by the time they got to the hospital. Neonatal resuscitation, so that we can drop our neonatal mortality and bring it down. Health data management. Thank God for the M&E session we had on the 9th. You see how important it is for us to evaluate what we are doing and know whether we are meeting our targets. Social mobilization for health. I told some people the other couple of days ago that for a country like Nigeria, COVID-19 is not preventable. Why? Because we don't just understand. We don't understand how it works, and all the efforts to get people to understand have stopped short of making behavior change. And so since it requires discipline, it requires people understanding the way the disease is transmitted and disciplining themselves to imbibe those COVID-19 protocols. Since it is practically impossible, or we do not have the correct tools or the correct will or passion or design or strategy to get that behavior change achieved. Because of that, COVID-19 is not a preventable disease in Nigeria. And that is why we have not only lost so many people, we have lost so many doctors. So if we, the physicians, cannot heal ourselves, is it the public people that are not that knowledgeable? So social mobilization for health, wherein we make sure we understand the way disease is transmitted and we can achieve behavior change after that is something that is crucial, because we gave out money for social mobilization, but people just went to a few places, took a few photographs and said that they have done risk communication and community engagement. So we need to know how to do that. We need training for residents as supernumeraries, so we can have relationship between hospitals management board and teaching hospitals to achieve that. All that will boost the postgraduate education in the country. Training of house officers. Why should house officer stay for 2 years before he or she will get a placement? Or why should a house officer go and do internship as a supernumerary? Well, that is what we are having, and it is not difficult to increase the places for training of house officers. What you need, of course, is the salary to pay them. But apart from the salary, which will be giving you good labor, young people who are fresh from school, you also need at least quarters for 16 people, 4 for O&G, 4 for pediatrics, 4 for internal medicine, and 4 for general surgery. And then you need 4 consultants in those areas. That's all. So what is stopping us? What is stopping us from doing that? Training of, productivity enhancement and quality assurance training for continuous quality improvement. That is what is going to help us reverse medical tourism. When the attitude of the health worker is there and we do not have medical errors because quality assurance is in place. Training in provision of site laboratory, basic ultrasound, and other diagnostic services. Something as simple as cervical screening. Why can't we ensure that every house officer does 20 before they leave? I've met a lot of young doctors who have finished youth service and they have never done cervical screening before. And yet we keep saying we want to now go and start organizing another refresher training when it could have been done at the basic level. And then strategic training programs to reverse outward medical tourism. So I'm almost running out of time. I have done about 26 or 7 minutes. We talk about PPP opportunities. They are all there. I will specifically talk about local manufacture of drugs, vaccines, medical devices. We need training and we need to invest in those areas. Telemedicine, we've been talking about it. We are yet to get any breakthroughs. I just have these few slides to present Professor Ezebige, the VC of Benson Idahosa University. He is the inventor of Edotide. He's a biochemist. I interacted with him and his story is so wonderful. He was able to use bitter leaf, otherwise known as Vernonia amygdalina, and convert it to this drug, which is both NAFDAC and FDA approved. It's called Edotide. So if a biochemist can do it, we medics, what is stopping us? Can we now collaborate with the basic scientists and get this done? And so we look at the medical services and skills database. When I first moved to the Ministry of Health as permanent secretary, I requested for the procedures that Delta sought medical assistance for in 2016 and the countries. where the care was sought. So we had things like replacement of pacemaker for patent ductus arteriosus and heart block in India. We also had corrective heart surgery for atrioventricular septal defects in USA. Then for those who went to Delsut O'Hara, they had total hip replacement surgery and some other procedures and other conditions. We had open reduction and internal fixation with intramedullary nail for fracture of the left femur and head injury in National Hospital, Abuja. So what we decided to do was to set up a medical skills services database for Delta State. What are the things we can do in our public-private hospitals? And so we had only, by the time we sent all those state-of-the-art things that people normally travel around and say, please, hospitals that can provide those services, they should indicate so that we will publish it. Only 3 hospitals, Delsut, Capitol Hill, and Lilly Clinic, they were the ones that published, and we published them. So what we are saying, before you go to India, check whether you can get it at Lilly Hospital or Capitol Hill. Now, for intramural practice, we want a situation where medical consultants can use their own funds to sponsor themselves for training in new procedures and procurement of new equipment when they know a reasonable percentage of the funds generated from rendering such high-tech services will be provided for them to recoup their investment. So in this partnership we're proposing with NAD, this is one thing we are trying to promote. We have been doing advocacy at various levels in Delta State, and we're almost there. Delsut most likely will be the first hospital to start, and then most likely will follow up with Central Hospital Warrior and other hospitals. This will gradually stem the huge tide of medical tourism that has besieged the nation, and it will enable us to go for education and sponsor ourselves because we know we will recoup the cost. A lot more can be found about that in Professor Shibogu's book, titled My Life, My Medicine. So, take home points. The Sustainable Development Goal 8 aims to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, that's jobs which young doctors are looking for, and decent work for all, jobs that will make you happy and you will not be forced to check out to any other. It may not even be the UK or US, it may be South Africa or Saudi Arabia or UAE. Decent work for all. If the work in Nigeria was decent for all young doctors, the thought of checking out will not be so much. The thought of brain drain will not be as high as it is. So the target is that by 2030, devise and implement policies to promote sustainable tourism that creates jobs and promotes local culture and products. That is within. It is a sustainable development goal. So we can have an Africa in Nigeria that is self-reliant with regards to evidence-based interventions that promote health, prevent disease, and prolong life. Can Mwan collaborate with NAD for an initiative to promote group private medical practice with innovation through promoting savings among senior registrars pending when they become fresh consultants? That was the 40-minute talk I had with Dr. Ifeanyi, whom Dr. Evo introduced. And he and his colleagues, they're already planning. They've been putting aside some money such that when they finish their residency, they can set up a group private practice on their own. And so this is something that every senior registrar should consider because you are not sure whether you'll be retained. And then going outside the country, before you do that, whether you are doing it after house job or outside youth service or outside fellowship, it's good for you to go there first and see what it is. Go and live with the people. Go and check the General Medical Council and find out all the information and then count the cost. And when you are going, do not burn your bridges so that just in case it doesn't work out the way you want it to, you can come back and continue. So you can take your leave and use your leave, use style, go there, see what it is to write the exams and all the qualifications, see if you'll be exempted from any of the preliminary examinations so that you can make an informed choice. So the question that I have asked, if the answer is yes, we are all on our way to maximizing the benefits of postgraduate medical education. This time, it is not Nigeria versus foreign, but it is Nigeria and foreign combined. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Ma. The OCG effect at it again. Thank you so much, Ma. Dr. Choma.
Thank you so much, Madam President, for that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful presentation. It's always a joy and a delight to have you with us. Always a joy and a delight to have you, Ma. For those that joined in after she has started her presentation, Madam President, Dr. Seji talked about career choices, how to maximize your postgraduate medical education. She talked about mentoring. And if you didn't pick anything from her talk, what she talked about the extra mile, going the extra mile. In fact, for me, that was it, the extra mile, and how that made a difference in the life of a lot of people that she had as mentees that she listed on the slide. Again, she talked about the goal for 2030, that is the SDG 8, which is decent work for all. And like she said, yes, even in the hype of everybody wanting to jump ship, leave the country and move on, she said something very important: don't burn the bridges. You know, even as you think about it, you want to move on, check out the place, come back. But for her, that she has both experience both in Nigeria and outside the country, and has been able to harness both experiences, you know, to make her the total package that she is today. And talking to us, Mommy, we are so grateful for your presentation. For those that don't know her, she is Dr. Mini Oseji. She's the fellow of both the West African College and the National College of Physicians, that is Public Health. She's the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health in Delta State, also a fellow of the Royal Society of Tropical Health and Hygiene. She's also the national president of the Medical Women Association of Nigeria and the principal investigator of the UNFPA Fifth Country Program of Nigeria for Nigeria Baseline Survey. She's a supervisor of many projects, a health expert, a resource person for many projects. Ma, we're so happy and glad to have you. Thank you so much for your presentation. Without further ado, we'll move on to the third presenter. As we round up today's talk, we'll be introducing our third presenter. She's none other but Dr. Ejiro Gene Umeri. She's the national treasurer of the Medical Women Association of Nigeria and also a consultant cardiologist. She has experiences both as an examiner and as a lecturer for the past 10 years. Her professional goal is to be a level 5 leader who can inspire others to achieve their maximum potential. She strives to be abreast with and make positive contributions to rapidly evolving trends in medicine globally. She's a team player who adapts and applies global best practices locally through evidence-based research. Over the years, she has acquired valuable skills as a clinician, as a lecturer, as an administrator, as a researcher, and an academic writer. She has about 20 years of medical practice and about 10 years of experience as a university lecturer. And she has several years as a volunteer, working in the community and volunteering as a health-based healthcare service provider. And she understands the potency of research data as an advocacy tool to drive more effective and efficient health preventive strategies. Currently, she has over 45 publications in national and international peer-reviewed journals, and her research interests are in cardiovascular diseases and women's health, including community-based surveys on lifestyle-related and other metabolic, cardiovascular risk factors and barriers to cardiovascular health prevention, as well as peripheral artery disease. Without wasting much time, we'll invite her, Dr. Umeri. Ma, please, you have the floor. Thank you, and go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you very much, Madam President, wonderful colleagues. It's a privilege and an honor to be giving this talk today. I want to say that the speakers before me have done great justice to their topics. Madam President has helped me define some very key words. Key amongst what she said was the extra mile and mentorship. And these are very important tools if we are looking at the topic that I have to discuss with us this evening. Can you see my slides?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the first, we're looking at examination strategies for part 1 and part 2 residents. So it means that this group of persons that I'm talking to are already in the program. You have gone beyond the stage of making the decision to want to go into residency to be a specialist. You have taken the entrance examination, which is the primaries in this case, and you are now in the program proper. In my talk, for want of time, I will be blending both part 1 and part 2 together. Now, residency is not a marathon. Why do I say so? Many people come into residency and they just waste so much time. They think, oh, now I have the placement. I'm not writing my exams until 3 years' time. I'm first year resident. I can, take my time. The truth of the matter is there is no time to take. It is not a sprint, it is a marathon. And you must start early. And you must be consistent in whatever plan you decide to do. Now, preparation for the exams, whether it is for membership, which is part 1, or it's for the fellowship, which is part 2, starts the day you assume that position. So your first day at work is, as a junior resident, you have already started preparing for the part 1 exams. And of course, the day you pass your part 2, because we think that people will pass their part 1 examination, and then they are in a euphoric state for another 1 year. They haven't done anything. So the day you pass your part 2, your part 1 exam, rather, the membership exams, you begin to prepare for the part 2 exams. Now, for both levels, you must be abreast with the curriculum of the college that you belong to and your department. So whether you are in the West African College or you are in the National Postgraduate Medical College, for your particular discipline, for example, if you are in internal medicine, you must get the curriculum for internal medicine. Otherwise, you are just floating around. You're not sure exactly what you're doing. Your curriculum is that which is going to guide you as to what you need to know. The things to know in medicine is unending, it's vast, but you are preparing for an exam. So for you to be able to prepare properly, you need a guide, and the curriculum is the guide. The curriculum will tell you what you need to know, the basic minimum you need to know, and you need to focus on that. Now you must also start early to invest in books and other, materials, learning resources that will help you. Madam President talked about going the extra mile and, making some sacrifices. Instead of buying the latest designs, you want to invest in books, not just textbooks, other books, that will help you in that particular discipline. Other resources, invest in buying, audiovisuals, that will help you. Again, the curriculum usually will contain the recommended textbooks. So that will guide you as to which books to buy. And of course, you can speak to those ahead of you and speak with your trainers for guidance. Now you have to learn to organize your study space. There's so much to learn. There's so much to do. And you are time bound. You need to limit yourself, within the space that you have to be able to maximize it. Now, how do you do this? You must first and foremost make up your mind that every day I must learn something new. You go to the clinic, for example, you're an internist, you're a junior resident, and you are busy running the clinic. You must find time to ask yourself, what have I learned today? I like to ask my medical students after a clinical ward round, what have you learned? And you'll be amazed. You think that you have taught so much, but how much have they grabbed? So you as an individual preparing for an exam, you must make up your mind that you want to learn something new every day.
Now, learning is active and passive, but I want to encourage us to be active in our learning. It means that you don't just go for meetings or word rounds unprepared. You go, you have done a call. Sorry, I'm going to be using internal medicine because that's my thing, and that's what I can relate with easily. You were on call the previous day as a junior resident, and you're going to come to present the cases during the morning review. You can't just come blank. You must have gone through your notes. You must have, looked at some references. You have your handbooks to look at. Thank God we now live in the time where you have so much information in your mobile phone. You have references in your mobile phone. You have learning points, Medscape, up to date, and several learning points you can get from the internet. You must make use of that. Assuming you are not the one presenting, somebody else is presenting. You're supposed to be passive and just listen and go away. No, decide to be active. Take down notes. You'll be surprised that when you go back to look at those notes, there are some things that you would have forgotten if you did not write them down. Ask questions. Don't be shy. Nobody knows it all. Even your trainer doesn't know everything. So learn to tax them. Learn to ask questions. Is the questions you ask that will tax your trainer to teach you more. Now, I put that I don't miss learning opportunities. There are opportunities to learn everywhere. As a resident, it is not only when you sit down to study, that's when you're learning. No, you learn from others. You learn during ward rounds. You even learn from the patients. You learn from laboratories, the investigations that you have. You look at them. Don't look at things at face value. After you have looked at it, check it again. Go back and check. That's the way it will stay. Maximize learning from departmental activity. There are so many activities lined up. Make good use of them. Morning reviews. Make up your mind. I want to learn something. You may never read that topic again. You may never have time to read it in depth. But here you have a room full of people at different levels. The consultants are there, the senior registrars are there, even the medical students. Sometimes their contributions are very useful. You gather everything together and summarize them. You have learned something for that day. And then you don't just keep it to yourself, you begin to put it to practice. Now for the colleges, they have designed update courses, refresher courses to, some of these update courses contains didactic lectures, bedside teachings and all that. Make good use of them. For the senior residents, I know now that it is compulsory for you to attend conferences, national and international conferences. Again, as part of an active learner, make up your mind. I will not go for any conference if I am not presenting a paper. It means that you would start planning early. It means that you know that, oh, I have a conference, there's, for example, there's NCS conference in September. I know that I have to go for that conference because it's one of the requirements for my exams. But I'm not going to go there as a spectator. I'm not going to go there as jamboree. I'm going to do something, begin to work, to collaborate with others, to have a paper to present. Now you may think that, oh, this doesn't mean much. It does mean much. The first speaker was talking about what you can give, This is part of the things you can give back. And also, when you're doing this at the part 2 level, you're already also setting up the template for your research work. You're learning to collaborate with others. You're learning the rudiments of research. So when it is time for you to do your research proper, things begin to fall into place. Now you need to schedule out your time and make realistic goals. So you find a junior resident. This is more common amongst the junior residents. You say, I want to read the whole of Harrison within 6 months. The truth of the matter is that's not possible. Even if you have 1 year, you can read it from cover to cover, but how much of it have you grasped? The first thing I put there is that you must constantly remind yourself that residency is a tenured program. Now that means I don't have my whole lifetime to do this. I have a specific time. 3 years to be a junior resident, 3 years to be a senior resident, and move on with your life. Now, in these 3 years, I must set SMART goals. I believe we all know what SMART is. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound goals. Now, these goals, we must now break down into short-term goals. Your long-term goal is to be able to go for the exam and pass it at first sitting. That's your long-term goal. But the short-term goal is, how am I going to achieve this? Your postings have been broken down into rotations. So let's take internal medicine, for example. You have to go through maybe 8 or 9 rotations, 3 monthly rotations. If you go back to your curriculum tells you the minimum basic that you need to know, that you need to learn from that posting. So when you are going into that posting, you begin to prepare yourself and say, oh, this is what I know. This is what I want to learn. And then you break it down into daily and weekly goals. Have I learned this thing, this particular topic? Do I know it well? Can I recognize it? Can I manage it? You know, and at the end of it, you also keep evaluating yourself as you go along. Now, I must pause here. This is medical women, and I'm happy this is coming to us because we are very different. We are different from the way the men will study. The men, even if they are married, even if they have other obligations, they have more time they can play around with. For you, there are other obligations. There are other distractions. You have to care for the family. You have to do other things. We talk about financial prosperity. You have to have side hustle and do other small business by the corner. All this can go pari passu, but you need to be realistic in your goals. You need to know that as a woman, you must learn how to multitask. The way you studied as a medical student is going to be very different from the way you are going to study now. You may not have the luxury of 6 hours at a stretch, or the luxury of you want to wake up and study overnight, when you have a that you need to take care of, maybe a suckling baby, or that's the time a guy is asking for his own attention. So you need to learn to balance these things. Now, as I share one of my experiences with you. As a junior resident, I went to residency. I had a 10-month-old baby. I was separated from my husband. My husband was in Sapele. I was in Benin doing residency. And 2 months into residency, I got pregnant. And I was pregnant for a set of twins. It was not funny at all. But luckily, I had someone who turned out she's one of my mentors today, who was my consultant and took interest in me. And she gave me very salient advice, which I'm going to give to you today. She said, when you are at work, be at work. When you are at home, be at home. Why did she say that? When I'm at work, I'm busy thinking about my children and worrying about one thing or the other, and not focusing at work. But as soon as I took on that advice, as soon as I leave my house and I'm in the workspace, I hand over my children to God and I face my work. Face my work means I attend to my patients, means I read in between. I make sure I read at least 2 to 3 hours before I go home that day. And when I get home, I face my children and I forget about the patients until I can create time at night. Luckily, I got accommodation within the hospital premises. So at night, I would leave my kids again in God's hands, even though I had a young lady staying with me, and I would go to the hospital to study. So you need to find your own pattern, your own reading that will work. 12-hour stretch, you would never have it as a woman. 6-hour stretch is a luxury. You need to make use of those little times, 1 hour, 2 hours, and everything will add up together. I hope we are together.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right on.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So I have mentioned handbooks, mobile apps, and audiovisuals. You must use this. Never be ashamed to consult a reference book. I can say this openly. One of my mentors is Professor Mwan. He still has textbooks on his table that he looks at. He still tells you, open the book and let us look it together. That's where you reinforce what you know. But if you want to cram everything, you would most likely forget most things. But you find out by the time you open the reference book, you open the handbook, you open the mobile app. I still use my Medscape every day. I want to prescribe a drug, I check again and be sure that, oh, there's no drug-drug interaction. You know, before you know it, it becomes part of you and you move on from that drug to another drug. As a resident, within a space of a short time, you would have mastered so many things because you keep going back to the reference, okay? Now, this is so important. You must be part of a study group. You can't do it alone. They say if you want to go far, you must go in a group. You have the onus to either form your own group or join a group. But you must form a group or join a group with like-minded people, people who have similar goals. If you just join a group for joining sake and your goals are not in tandem, then you'll be wasting time. Again, it's not advisable to join a group with your social friends. The chances of distractions are high, okay? Now, your group should not be very large, maximum 4. 3 to 4 is just fantastic. Share the work equally. So you have a task before you. You want to look at this week, you want to look at tuberculosis, for example. Share the work and say, you take epidemiology of tuberculosis. Another person takes clinical features of tuberculosis. Another person takes management of tuberculosis. And then you come together at a specified time. Please honor that time. And then you brainstorm together and you share together. You'll be surprised that what you would have used 3 hours to do, you would use 1 hour, you know, because you'll be gleaning from the knowledge of others. And you also be reinforcing what you have already learned before. Now, it shouldn't stop with your study group. You should go ahead to teach others. Someone once said that if you must know something thoroughly, you must teach it to others. So that thing that you think you have read and mastered, teach somebody. Be hungry to teach medical students. Be hungry to call your peers and say, have you read about this thing? I want to tell you, I want to teach you. Even the other healthcare practitioners, you know, every avenue to teach, please don't waste it. Because you are not only doing good to somebody else, you are reinforcing what you know. As you teach, you find that you begin to see some missing gaps and you go back again and look at it and it's reinforced. Now, I must say that you must never be afraid to make mistakes as a resident, whether a junior resident or senior resident, when you are dealing with your peers or with your trainers. I tell my students, undergraduate, postgraduate, it is not a crime to not know the first time. If I ask you something or we are discussing and you don't know the first time, it's not a crime. But it becomes a sin if you don't know it afterwards, which means you're allowed not to know. But the extra mile, which Madam talked about, means you would go back and check so that when they ask you again, you'll be ready, you know, with the answers. Now, part of the things you need in preparing for exams will be to get past questions. Now, the past questions could be from the medical colleges, which is advisable. I know West African College of Physicians now have a pool of past questions, you know, that they make available to students, to candidates. Okay, you can also get other past questions or board exam questions. Harrison has a board exam questions, USMLE, and any exam question. Now, why are you looking at this past questions or this practice questions? It's to help you broaden the scope of your work within a short time. You know, if you're looking through MCQs, you would have covered a lot more ground than if you were to read those topics, you know, one after the other. Again, if you look at the specific past questions from the college that you want to sit the exam, you will begin to find that there is a pattern, the pattern to the MCQs. So you begin to find that not all the MCQs are knowledge-based. Some are competency-based. Some will need you to recall. Some will need you to interpret. Some will need you to apply. So when you look at that, you know that, oh, it's not just a la crème, a la poire. Some questions will need you, even if you have the answer before you, you need to think and be able to, produce the answers. And going through past questions is one way of evaluating yourself. So you want to start, let's say as a junior resident, you want to go into cardiology posting, for example, in 3 weeks, and you get questions on cardiology, and you test yourself. You'll be able to know that, oh, okay, this is where I am. By the time you test yourself on the same questions when you're leaving the posting, there should be a marked difference if you have applied yourself and you have gone the extra mile. Now, some departments, like my department, put up, a number of formative assessments. You have different types, the mini CX assessments, on-the-spot assessments, MCQs, and all of that. Don't shy away from those assessments. Some people will purposely, say, I'm not prepared. You can never be well prepared. But when you go for those assessments, it will spur you to know that, yes, there are gaps, but these gaps can be filled, So make good use of the feedbacks that you get from those assessments and re-strategize for better outcomes. Now, you must be willing to ask for help. And it is best to ask for help before you need it. How do you ask for help? You must identify mentors. Remember the story I told you about myself. It was one of my mentors. She did not sit me down to teach me cardiology, but she taught me what will help me, to understand why I am in residency and to know that I had a tenured program and I must succeed. Now, it's not enough to identify a mentor. Somebody came to me during his junior residency days. He's a senior resident now, and said, oh, madam, I want you to be my mentor. I said, no problem. But that was the last we had. Mentor-mentee is a relationship. It is not, I will not come and just be pouring everything. And no, you must work hard at it. You must be humble enough to be a mentee. It takes a lot from you to be a mentee. Your mentor has many other things to do, but you must make sure that you carve out a space in your mentor's life that we are so important that they can't do but impact you. So you must do that, okay? Now, not just mentors, you must also, as women, ask for help from, social support. Your mother, your mother-in-law, your husband, you must get all the support you can. When you are not there with the children, somebody has to be with them. That's help. Don't wait until, things are very bad. Factor it. Maybe one weekend every month, somehow, you steal time away. Ask for help, from this social support. Now you must be focused and regularly evaluate yourself. I think I have said this in passing, but I'm going to emphasize on the one in the middle. Juggling residency with private practice is a sure way to inefficiently manage time and resources. As at when I became a resident, my husband already had a practice, a private practice. I did not step my foot into that private practice until I finished my residency because I was focused. I knew I had 5 years to do this program and go back to my wonderful husband. I didn't want to raise my children alone. I needed to be focused. But now we find residents, junior residents, the senior residents brandish themselves in town as specialist registrars. They don't know, and they don't know, they don't know. And they go to town wanting gratification. But beloved, delayed gratification pays, learn it right. Take that residency time. It's a time of sacrifice. Sacrifice it. You're going to sacrifice the extra money you can make from private practice. You're going to sacrifice social, meetings, parties, and all that. Set your goals, and to thy own self be true. Why do I say that? Evaluate yourself. Know when you are not measuring up, and go back to the last slide. Ask for help. As a resident, junior or senior, you are first and foremost a human being. You can only take much if you are good. So you must take good care of your health. You must. My first pap smear I did as a resident, and I thank God I did that pap smear. It turned out to be a positive pap smear as at that time. But thank God it was early, and I had gone through the treatment and everything, it's fine. If I didn't do that, I will just carry on. And when I'm about to start enjoying the fruit of my labor, sickness and disease will strike. That will not be our portion. We like to say that, but we must be responsible enough to take the proper actions. Rest when you need to take rest. Go on breaks. Now, the breaks is not only your holidays. While you are working, every day, you can find 10 minutes to stretch your leg, no matter how busy you are. Look for somewhere, stretch your leg, and just take a breather. Just breathe in and out and forget the whole world. If you like, you can sip a glass of juice and help to release all the anxiety and stay motivated. Now we come to the part 2, people. Choosing a research topic for dissertation. This is a big problem. Big problem because many people don't start early. Many people are looking for supervisors who will just tell them what to do, give them topics. Some would even want the supervisors to write the proposal for them, which I think is terrible. And all sorts of excuse. But the truth of the matter is, if you are focused, if you know what you're doing, you will go through a few steps and you'll come out clean. Now we'll look at a few steps that you need to go through. The first is that you must read widely in choosing a dissertation topic for your part 2. You must read widely. You must brainstorm. Now, you can't brainstorm ideas if you have not read. It is from your reading that you get ideas. Now, when you get the ideas, you begin to brainstorm with your peers, brainstorm with your trainers and with your senior colleagues. And in brainstorming, remember that this dissertation topic you want to choose is your dissertation. It is not the supervisor's dissertation. So you need to do something that you have interest in. So whatever topic you are going to choose, whatever reading you are going to be doing, it has to be in something you are interested in. Again, I give an example. As a senior resident, I just passed my part 2. And I knew I wanted to do something on hypertension. But I was at loss. I felt everything has been done about hypertension in my own small mind. What else is there to do about hypertension? Again, thank God for another medical woman. The first mentor I talked about was a medical woman, by the way. Another medical woman who is also a mentor said no. She called me and said, no, sit down, look at it. There are so many things that you can do from this same hypertension that you think has been overflowed. All you need to do is take it a step further. In other words, what you're doing does not need to be necessarily new or groundbreaking. Just a step further from where the next person stopped. So it means also going back to the colleges. I know the colleges have a compendium of dissertations that have been done. You want to look through them. and you want to look at what has been done before, and then you go down to the recommendations. You know, after dissertation, some people will make recommendations. Oh, this study, further studies in this area need to be done. You can take that, can be your takeoff point, you know, in deciding your topic. Now, having read, you know, extensively, and you have discussed with your colleagues and your trainers, you will now pone down to say 3 to 5 topics. I think 3 topics is manageable. In each of these 3 topics, have a focused research question. Just one research question. Don't, you know, you see some proposals, they want to do everything. No, don't be too broad and don't be too narrow in your research question, but be smart about it. For example, you're interested in doing something in hypertension. Yes, you want to do a follow-up study and you want to follow up the patients for 2 years. Do you have that luxury of 2 years to follow up patients? Okay, you can decide that you want to do this study, same study as a pilot study. And afterwards, after your residency program, you can now do your 10 years follow-up.
Looking at you. You're looking fine. Where are you?
Okay.
Hi.
To choose your supervisors wisely. I say that with some caution. Choosing your supervisors. Many people will choose supervisors just for the name. Oh, because this person is a professor of so and so, has been a professor for donkey years, that person will be my supervisor. Yes, you can put that person as your supervisor, but such a person should not be the only supervisor you should have. It's good to have a supervisor you can engage. It's good to have a supervisor that would not, you know, tell you what to do, but would guide you in doing what you need to do. And finally, you need to trust your supervisor to guide you to make that final choice that you need to make. So in closing, in these past few minutes, I have gone through few tips that you may find useful in preparing for exams, whether at the part 1 or at the part 2 level, depending on the discipline that you belong to. And for part 2 candidates, how to begin to choose your dissertation topics. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions, and I'm more than happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mwiri. Yes, it's a special day today, 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century. Thank you so much, ma'am. And we're having a special webinar today. I'm sure that by this time in the next century, it will be said that some women who were at this webinar have made impact in the world. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mary. Thank you, Dr. Seji. We have a lot of questions. There are some questions in the chat. There are some questions that were sent to us earlier via email. So I'm just going to be taking some questions now. Please, if you have a question, please write it out now so that we can take it. We have overshot our time. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending your evening with us. It has been so enlightening. Thank you. So I'm going to ask the first question from Faith Oibo. I am very interested in maternal and child health. How can a student get this training opportunity? Dr. Seji, ma'am. She's a medical student interested in maternal and child health. Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
We can hear you.
Okay. No, I directed a question to Dr. Seji. Oh, Dr. Mary, please, could you take that question? I don't know if Dr. Seji is, she's still here.
She's speaking.
I think her audio.
She's muted.
Audio has a little issue.
She's muted.
She's muted.
Okay, but one of her, she has a note that is not muted.
I think that one is frozen.
Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. We
ma'am.
can hear you, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
We can hear
So
you
I
now.
saw the question. I had seen it earlier, and she said that she wanted to know, how do you get a mentor? You look at the person that you admire, the person that you hope you would like to be like that person. And you also try to volunteer for things to be done. Because in the process of volunteering, it means you're going to work with people, you're going to work with people that are younger than you, you're going to be working with people that are older than you. And in that process, a mentor is picked. So during my residency, of course, I had my consultants, they are all my mentors. I always bow to them when I see them. But because of my activities in medical women, I had mentors outside the realm of public health. And one example happens to be Professor Polo. As we were preparing for the 2000 Years and African Regional Congress, I was part of the scientific committee, and anything they asked me to do, I was doing it. And because of that, she was always calling me, to the point that when we came back from the International Congress in Sydney, I started dodging her. And I know there are people who are dodging me right now. If they see my call, they don't answer it. Those people don't want me to be their mentors. So the issue was, it was like that. So I was dodging, but she was very smart and she knew how to catch me. And I said, okay. Eventually, I stopped dodging because every encounter I had with her, I was always learning something. I'm still using those principles in my life today. And when she was the professional officer for West African Health Organization, she was always carrying me like handbag to Burkina Faso, to
Wow.
Cotonou, to attend all these meetings, which also build my capacity. So from time to time,
Wow.
I go to her, I call her, I say, Prof, because of COVID, I can't visit, but this is what is happening. And she gives me advice. Dr. Ide was also another mentor for me because she was state president of Edo State when I was Edo State treasurer. So I was always going to her office, Prime Opticals, and she had a very interesting way of getting in touch with me. You know how those the college building, all those offices, they all had those cubicles where you can put notes for everybody. So everybody had a hole. So all she needed to do then, mobile phone was not there in the late 1990 something and the early 2000s. So what she would do is to send a note and somebody from her office would come all the way and drop it at Chibowo. Once I see the note, I'm going to the nearest place where there is a phone, pay phone. We'll go to pay phone and I'll call. And she said she has never seen a communication system as efficient as that she knows that once she sends that note, I will get there. So there must be a communication relationship for you to be mentored. So all these people ended up mentoring me in one thing or the other, even outside the public health that I was doing. So as far as I'm concerned, you cannot be mentored when you're hiding in your clinic alone. You cannot be mentored when you're hiding in your house alone. You have to be coming out and be volunteering because it is in the process of volunteering that your capacity is built. It's painful. A lot of people in this biennium, we've called, some of them actually have accepted, but they didn't deliver. You send them reminders. You promised to send us this, and they will, every time one list of problems and issues and all sorts. You have to minimize your excuses and find a way to be relevant to your mentor as a good mentee. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We have a question from a medical student who says she's interested in maternal and child health, and how can she be involved with maternal and child health?
There are so many ways. Maternal and child, you look for pregnant women, you look for children, where are they? And then you just
In your community.
go and stay there for one whole day. And then from there, you come up with a plan of how you can continue. The fact that I noticed you are a medical student, I do not know what year you are, but I noticed that you didn't say obstetrics and gynecology. You didn't say pediatrics. So you obviously want to do something maternal and child. And I'm happy because, like I said in my own presentation, it's the basic. You can do it at any level. You can go to primary health center. That is the major thing they do, maternal and child. You can go into the hospitals, like for those of us in Delta State where we have the contributory health scheme that oversees the free maternal health program. A place like General Hospital is more like a maternal and child hospital. All that they do there, majority, they do other things, but that is majority there. Then in the tertiary, obviously it's because the tertiary is a specialized health facility. You will have to go to the obstetrics to see the maternal, and then you have to go to the pediatrics to see the child. But in every way, there are so many things that you can do in that area. So just expose yourself. And then again, another way of getting involved is doing research. So find out people who are doing research. We have a lot of grants flying around. Does anybody look at them? In the process of doing research in maternal and child health care, you will get to know more about that. So the most important thing is go to where the thing is happening, even if it is not your responsibility, not your field, volunteer to do something. Then carry out research. Research is one of the best ways of becoming an expert. By the time you do a lot of research work in those areas, when people are saying, some people feel that research or being involved is only when somebody gives you a position and calls it your program officer of this, that is when you're involved. Somebody told me that she wanted to do a lot of research. And then when I now engaged her in the first research work and said, go and do literature review, she ran away from me. She didn't do anything. And so me too, I also ran away from her. So we are all moving in the opposite direction. She cannot be my mentee. Because the first assignment I gave her, she failed woefully. She didn't even come back to say, sorry, ma. You understand? So what we are saying is that you have to be ready to do the work. If you don't know, say you don't know. Don't pretend. Or don't run away because you don't know. They say, do literature review and you don't know how to do literature review. You ask, show me. You said, go and do analysis. And you say you don't know how to do analysis. Then you can ask, where can I go for training? And you can learn. So there is no end to knowledge and there's no end to learning. At every age, you'll be learning. The good mentee is a mentee that is ready to learn, no matter how hard it is. When I was doing, after we finished the Near Eastern African Regional Congress in 2000, UNFPA told us that they wanted to support the book of proceedings, that they had money aside. Unfortunately, I already had a lot of documentation on the presentation. So the committee, the scientific committee, which was Edo State Mwan, we had to gather again to start working on it. And after sharing it, they said I should be the one to put all of them together. And I said, why must it be me? But that's because they found out that whenever there is a need for volunteering, I was always available. So they didn't hesitate. Dr. Seji, pull everything together. But I had some challenges with my system and the use of diskette. Remember then, we're not using flash. It was diskette. And I kept having problems. At the time, I burst out crying. I said, this woman will kill me. Why is it only me to do all this? But in the end, I overcame the challenge and I was able to do it and were able to deliver the book of proceedings at the biennial conference that we had in Lagos. So all the efforts, all the extra, this time now it was several bits of extra miles put together, gave us that outcome. And the reason they wrote me in was because I had been delivering before. So that is one of the things a mentee must be ready to do. When your mentor gives you assignment, you don't run away. You do it. Even if you can cry. After crying, you still go back, clean your eyes, and then ask them to put you through, and you get your result.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sejima. And I have learned a lot. I know I tried to run, but at the end, I have learned each encounter, each time I run and I come back, I see that I live and my capacity is built. And I come back and I say, thank you, Ma, for the opportunity, because I see that I learned from you. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. So we have another question now, but I think it's going to be focused more to a radiologist or somebody in radiology in the house. We have a question from a medical student who is interested in doing a residency in interventional radiology in South Africa. It was sent to our YDF group, the email address. She wants to also become a medical woman who would impact others and be part of global initiatives that would impact lives. I think we have a radio-oncologist in the house, Dr. Hiatama. Dr. Hiatama, please, are you present? Could you please help us with that question? Hello? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Dr. Hiatama. So the question is, thank you so much. She has a medical student who is interested in residency in interventional radiology in South Africa. Please, how would she go about that?
Okay, I must first of all say kudos to the organizers of this program. And I followed, although I bumped in and out at some point, all three previous presenters, and it was quite informative. So a big congratulations there.
Thank you.
Okay, if you're really interested in doing interventional radiology and you want to do it in South Africa, it means you have some form of focus already. You're not only focused on what you want to study, you're also focused on the country you want to do it. So I think the first step is just like it is with other countries, is to get registered with the medical council of that country. So you can, good thing, you have all the information online, so you can see the Health Professional Council of South Africa and see the examination requirements, just like you would do for PLAB with respect to the UK, or USMLE with respect to the United States, or AMC with respect to Australia, and at that point, you can decide the examinations to take. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes, we can hear you.
You can take the examination and and do your program. But first and foremost, you have to finish medical school from Nigeria, I guess, and make sure you are in good standing with the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. And interventional radiology is something we really do need in Nigeria as it stands, because I did clinical oncology. I have fellowship with the West African College of Surgeons and the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria. But you see, there's really no such thing as interventional radiology right now in Nigeria. Even if it is, it's just at the beginning stage. So it's something we would really need to look into and develop, because there are a lot of procedures that ordinarily you have to involve the interventional radiologists, from angioplasty and stent insertions to ascitic tap to biliary drainage, basal insertion, image-guided cervical nerve root sleeve, corticosteroid injury, a lot. Even with respect to biopsy of internal masses, you do need an interventional radiologist. And I think for you to be interested in that is a good thing. So, but the first thing first is to look at the countries guideline you're intended to, you want to go to, and see the examination requirement. That's the first step.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dr. Hiatama. That was quite enlightening. So good thing that right now most information is on the internet, so she can get that. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Hiatama.
All right.
Okay, God bless you. Next, ma, she also asked.
Can I just make a contribution, Dr. Evo?
Yes, ma, you can, please.
I think they also have the few intervention radiologists we have in Nigeria. I think she should also get in touch with them and see what she can obtain in Nigeria before she goes to South Africa. Because I did a program, there was this workshop organized by National Postgraduate Medical College in 2014. And I believe there's this Professor Okrodi or something like that. I don't know whether it's in Borno, Meduguri or somewhere, but there was one radiologist that was into a lot of these interventions. So maybe if you ask around Meduguri, University of Meduguri Teaching Hospital, or someone else, I will check my notes. So if you can get my number from my presentation, I can give you that information so that you make inquiries within and see if you can visit places where they are already doing some of these intervention. Because I fell in love with intervention radiology when he explained the procedure and said that it is the modern day surgery. And they found out that so many procedures that they did intervention radiology, they didn't need surgery. I first heard about intervention radiology when we're talking about how you can do remove a fibroid without surgery through uterine uterine artery
Artery
um,
embolization.
embolization, UAE. So what happens now is that there are a few people. It's always good to know those in Nigeria that are already doing it, and then that's another way you can get a mentor. You see somebody that is doing what you like, you find somehow a way to get in touch with the person, and thank God with all our digital mechanisms now, you can always get the person via WhatsApp, via text, via email, and so on. Even if you don't know the person, you will know somebody who knows, and then you make the connection, please. So all the best in your endeavor.
Thank you, Ma. She's also asking how she can be a medical woman who would impact others and be part of global initiatives that would impact lives.
I love that. I remember when we went to Münster in 2010. That was when I was doing my master's program. And so I was able to go there on student registration, which was quite cheap. That's one of the benefits of foreign education. All the conferences, you get a huge discount. So now, like I said, that cost me 10,700 pounds, which was the equivalent of 3.2 million. The good thing was that I was able to pay instrumentally because I didn't have 3.2 million stashed away for it. So there was a flexible payment. And then we now had the person who gave the plenary keynote lecture. And she was phenomenal. And I enjoyed it because I had done an assignment on global public health matters versus Nigeria public health matters. And I had to expound on a lot of global priorities and how we decide on what is important in different countries and why this is important to Nigeria. And after I had done that assignment, I redesigned it and made it a presentation. Now, this lady that spoke on the plenary, her presentation was very similar to mine. You understand? And she was just going on, and I was just enjoying it. I said, I have that in my presentation. That time I have it. And I was just excited. So when we were done, our national president was Dr. Mwan Wokocha, and she gathered all of us to talk to the Nigerian delegates. And she said, did you understand what that woman is saying? We have to find a way to understand the language. And on my own, I chuckled. It will cost you 10,700 pounds to understand what the woman is saying. Because I understood and I was happy. And I said, that thing she said is in my own presentation. That time she said, oh, I know where she got that from. I know the reference. I know who said that. That was because I committed to spending money to go and get that education. So the question now is, are you ready to go those extra miles now?
Extra mile.
Yes. Are you ready to save money? You know, I wrote to Delta State government. They didn't sponsor me then. But I said I would go anyway. All they did was to pay my salary for that period I was away. But when I came back, I was charged. I was like operating with 10 hands and 10 legs. And then I said, I'm not going to wait for government to come and give me one small workshop to train some unwilling people. That's when I started training people online. And between 2012 and 2013, I trained 80 doctors and health workers online. And I even extended it to MWIA. When I was in the finance committee, Dr. Elino was the chair of finance committee. I said, can we introduce an online training on a proposal writing so that our medical women can learn to write proposals and get grants? Even Shirley Ross, who was the Secretary General, undertook the course. And the icing on the cake was that when we went to South Korea, they gave me the opportunity to present the certificate of participation to the people who participated and succeeded. Can you imagine that honor? What I am saying is that it is step by step. And you must not give up. You don't give up. Just believe and be prayerful. Present your dream. This is your dream. Present it to God. Look at Dr. Unodim. She is our ICT coordinator. In 2017, she accompanied me to go early on time for the biennial conference so that we can interact and begin to lobby the FCT state branches, to the FCT M1 to vote for me as the candidate for president-elect. And so we went for their outreach, which was 2 days before the conference, and all that. And she said one thing when we were at the airport waiting for our flight, that even though she has this impediment of hearing, but that she really wants to do so much, but she feels that the hearing impediment, is holding her back. And I told her, present your request to God. Write down everything you want God to do and just give it to him on a piece of paper. And he will do all of them. If you see Nadim now, in fact, she's just flying high. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, she's holding all sorts of things. She has a foundation, she's working with deaf women somewhere. She is doing, I'm sure she's doing more than the thing she wrote on a piece of paper in 2017. So that desire that you have, it's a good desire and it is possible, it's realistic. Go and look for your mentor, be a faithful mentee, be focused and be ready to go the extra mile and commit everything into God's hand.
Thank you so much, Mom. Thank you so much, Mom. At the end of the day, we have to be prayerful and we have to write down our goals. Write down our goals. The Bible says write a vision and make it plain. Thank you, Mom. We have another question from an engineer who wants to switch over to the medical field and is asking for a short-term course for engineers to do. He's an engineer who wants to switch over to the medical field.
And because of the time frame, I did not present my slides on my experience because most of the pictures you saw of what I did when I traveled was in the UK and a few other places. But I didn't present my experience in United Arab Emirates, particularly in Dubai. I've gone for 4 Arab Health exhibition programs, and the Arab Health exhibition programs, you see a lot of innovation. And one of the things that attracted me was biomedical engineering. That was where I learned about Da Vinci procedure, which is another name for the robotic surgery. That's when I learned about 3D printing. That's when I learned about reality training for ultrasound, so that you can actually more like in an automated way of teaching you how to use ultrasound, even if you have never used ultrasound before. And all these things will show the beauty of the relationship between engineering and medicine. So my son, who happens to be a mechanical engineer, that was what he read in Covenant University, I tried to drag him into it. But I told him, I'm not forcing you to go into biomedical engineering. I just want you to know that this is an area of biomedical, of engineering that interfaces with medicine, which is what I'm doing. If you're interested, fine, but just know. And that is it. So I would love you to consider biomedical engineering. We don't have enough biomedical engineers, and it is so fascinating what can be done through such a collaboration. But if you want to be a medical doctor, please, you have to go back to medical school and study. Then again, I also want you to know that research is another way you can be very much involved in medicine, even if you are not a medical doctor. But remember, it doesn't make you. I did, during my master's in public health, a placement in a law firm, Ewell Mitchell Solicitors, and my dissertation was based on the work they gave me in that law firm, which was medical legal issues of incapacitated persons. By the time I was done, I presented part of the work at the conference in South Korea, and I won an award by e-poster. Then the other part of the work, I wrote a book about it, and the book was launched by the Chief Judge of Delta State, and it made so many judges to buy the book, and I got very good reviews. So even though I made all those accomplishments, did it make me a lawyer? It only made me a good legal researcher. I cannot go to court and pretend that I know what they are talking about and I want to do case, so I go and sit on the bench and say I'm a magistrate or I'm a lawyer or a judge because I did legal research. But at least it brought me very close to the profession, and I really found it a rewarding experience, and I'm still using all those skills for advocacy and other things. I hope that helps too.
Thank you very much, Ma. Another question which says, how can one be more active with Mwan and attend programs and conferences? From a 400 level medical student in Ife, she wants to be more active in Mwan, be mentored and attend programs and conferences.
I think Dr. Mary should answer that question.
Yes, Dr. Mary, Ma. Yes, Ma.
Is that GT? Is that 80 minus?
Dr. Mary, Ma.
Yes, ma. Thank you, ma. I think that she's already starting well by showing interest. It's still going back to the mentee mentor thing. She also needs to identify someone who she can relate with, who she can tag along with, okay? And go for meetings, start going for meetings locally before, because many people want to go to the international one and not work
Yes.
locally. So start locally, get mentored, get involved, and then gradually you move out and you can launch to the world. But the interest is good, yes, but she needs to identify in her circle in Ife. There are so many medical women. Let her look for one that she can attach herself to, be mentored, go for their programs, get involved. I'm sure they're also doing research, get involved in the researches there. And then before you know it, step by step, precept by precept, she will blow.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mary. Dr. Mary, you taught us a new phrase today. A la crème à la peau.
Yes, so à la crème à la peau.
Thank you so much. I think this should be the last question. We spent so much time this evening, over almost 3 hours. What do we do about supervisors who seem to delay you? Supervisors who do not seem to be interested in you.
Okay. That's why I said choose your supervisors wisely. Okay. Some supervisors, not that they are not interested, they're already burdened. You have one person supervising 5, 6 people at the same time. You won't get as much attention as someone who's supervising only one person. Okay. And then you need to understudy the supervisor before you approach the person. Know the kind of person. It's not just, some people just want the signature on the you say, oh, this signature would end me the dissertation. But when they get into it, midway they realize that the signature alone will not do it. You need somebody to guide you through. You need somebody to be there, to help you, not doing the work for you, but guiding you and showing you the path. You fail, you come back again, and you do all of it. But so the mentee needs to do that research. You need to look at the people around and choose carefully.
If I could add something, can I add something, Dr. Evo?
Yes, ma, please, ma.
You may have challenges with your supervisor, just like Dr. Mary has said, but it doesn't stop you from approaching somebody else who may be more available. So
would
if
that
you know
not
somebody
would that not bring about an issue, ma? Switching supervisors midway through?
I do not know what the college regulations are concerning that, because I haven't examined at the part 2 level. I've only examined at the part 1. So that's, you need to get somebody who has examined
I'm
at part
not
1
even
to
talking
find.
about the college level. At the departmental level, and you are switching supervisors from one to another in the same department.
But you are going to put it in your proposal who your supervisor is. So by the time you put it in your proposal has gone, how do you switch? That's why I'm saying you need to find out. So what happens, like if I use myself as an example, Professor Issa was my supervisor for my first dissertation, but I still got an external supervisor, Professor Shibogo. And then I was always running to Professor Yahweh, because what I did was lung function test on workers in Asaba's textile mill. And I had to look for a spirometer. And everybody kept saying, go to Professor Yahweh. He's a physiologist. Go to Professor Yahweh. So I went to him and he said, the anesthesia, they have a spirometer. I said, they said that it has not worked for 10 years. He said, I should go and bring it. So I brought it. And he now tested it and it worked. And we found out that it was just the plug. It depends on where you plug it. That will determine whether it will work or not. And so even the sample, what do you call it now? The paper, the recording paper for the spirometry, he gave me the first samples before I was able to place order for some in the UK. So I was always running to him. At the end of it, I had in the 2 papers that I wrote from that dissertation, his name is as a co-author. I hope you understand. So
yes, ma'am.
That it is something you can do. It's not a do or die matter. Of course, you'll be praying to God to give you grace and give you favor and all that. And God will see your situation and he will have mercy on you.
Amen.
Yeah, yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much.
Just to add to what Madam has said. Now, for the supervisors, again, I'm going to emphasize that choose your supervisors wisely and carefully. On the floor, before your proposal goes, you can juggle. Once the proposal goes to the college, for you to change your supervisor, it's not just changing it yourself. You need to write, and state the reasons why you are changing that supervisor. Now, I think we also need to understand something, that a supervisor is different from a mentor. There are two different roles. Okay, a supervisor is different from a mentor. So you can have a mentor who is not your supervisor, but your supervisor must be somebody who is knowledgeable in the field you are studying. Then if you want somebody else to be there, then that person has to be a co-supervisor. Okay, but you can have mentors who are not necessarily your supervisor.
It's very important because Professor Iyawe, being a physiologist and not a public health physician, it would have not been proper for him to supervise. You get what we are saying? So she's very, very correct. So please remember that. But you can get help from anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
Yes. Oh, this has been quite an eventful evening, almost 3 hours of impact. Thank you so much, ma'am. Starting from Dr. Leanne, Dr. Seji, Dr. Mwery. Choma, what do you think?
I think this has been a wonderful outing, honestly, and I want to say a big thank you to our mommy in the house, our national president. She's always there whenever we call her. Mama, God bless you. In fact,
Thank you so
for
much. I'm
me,
sure Dr. Seji
extra
has a
mile,
special soft spot for YDS.
extra mile.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So to round up, we're going to ask Dr. Uzo.
She's the one. So may God bless you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
God
Dr.
bless you, ma'am,
Uzo, Dr. Uzo is then we'll go to please give us the vote of thanks from what the YDF state coordinator from Enugu State. Please give us the vote of thanks, Dr. Uzo. Hello?
Hi.
Okay, yes, we can hear you, Dr. Uzo. Dr. Uzo, we can't hear you. Dr. Uzo, we can't hear you. Or is it just me?
I can't hear either.
Dr. Uzo, we can't hear you.
Maybe you send her a chat. Maybe she did not
Yes,
join.
I don't think she connected with her
audio.
Can you hear? Yes, we can hear you now.
Now?
And we can hear you now. Yes, we can hear you now, yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Uzo Ezemugo from Mwan Enugu. It's been a very, very eye-opening and interesting webinar. All of you can attest to that. Would like to say a big thank you to everyone that has participated, starting from our panelists. We would like to say a very big thank you to our amiable and energy-filled Madam President, Dr. Mini Oseji. Thank you so much, ma'am. The Oseji effect is real, I must say. According to our National IDF coordinator, it is very real, I must say. Thank you so much, ma'am. Also like to thank Dr. Leanne Laffy. Your lecture was so educating. Thank you so much. Dr. Ejiro Umweri, if there's one thing I took away from your lecture, it is if you're at home, be at home. If you're at work, be at work. I mean, that is such a powerful, statement there. And thank you so much for your lecture. And to our moderators, Dr. Choma Dimebu, you've been awesome sharing screenshots of the slides of the lectures as the presentation was ongoing. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And then finally, our National YDF coordinator, Dr. Evo, you are simply a great leader. God bless you so much. And to our wonderful participants from all around the globe, thank you so much for participating. I'm sure you've been enriched this evening. And the state presidents here present, the YDF coordinators here present, and to everyone that has participated today, we say a very big thank you and pray that God will bless you and bless your family. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, can we put on our videos now for group photographs?
Remember our closing
But
prayer.
please put on your videos, please. Dr. Choma, you are ready. I know I can see you already. You're already smiling.
About closing prayers, please.
Closing prayers, please. That's true. Is Dr. Bilk still around? Can she lead us in closing prayers? Dr. Bilkis Mohammed. Okay, so while we're doing that, please can we all be smiling for our group photographs, please? Everyone, please, your best smiles, your best smiles, your best smiles. We can see Dr. Indidi, we can see Dr. Omo Wadia. Thank you, your best smiles. Dr. Choma, that was not your best smiles. Good for you. Best smiles. Thank you so much, Dr. Onyi Owas, Dr. Zainab, you're such an inspiration. Dr. Rukari, thank you. Dr. Faith Oyibo, I think you're a medical student and we look forward to having you as an active part of M1. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so Dr. Chinazom, I can see your smile. And we have Dr. Bukis, yes, always camera ready.
Dr. Endio Poster, good to see you.
Dr. Bukis, get ready. Please get ready to take the closing prayers. She's already joining. Please, everyone, please just keep on smiling. Please don't stop smiling. Don't stop smiling, please. I'm not using my camera, my laptop, so I'm using a phone. Dr. Amina, your smile is not fine. I pity you. Please smile again. Please smile again. Please keep smiling. Let's just keep smiling. Dr. Vivian, you're not smiling. Dr. Funke, oh, thank you for putting on your camera. Yes. Rukaya, nice to see you. Okay. Please, finally, please, we have so many mails here. Dr. Ogechi, right? We want to see your face. Thank you so much. We had so many mails supporting us today. Today was awesome. We had so many mails. Dr. Yetsi, Ibukun, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm looking for all the people who don't put on their camera.
Thank you.
Yes, you put on your camera.
Babes, thanks. Well done,
Thank you so much,
Chioma,
everyone. God bless
Odumegu,
you. God bless you.
and
God
Dr.
bless
Ava.
you. My classmates were here. My classmates from medical school were here in full force. In short, I think they dominated from the start. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. Dr. Mercy, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you. Thank you so much. Okay, so Dr. Beauty, could you please lead us in prayers? I'm still taking pictures as we're praying, though. So just keep on smiling to God as we pray.
Okay, thank
Dr.
you.
Beauty, lead us in prayers.
May we have a silence to pray in our individual faith. I mean, all that we have learned today continue to be impactful for us in the ways in which we reach out to the world and inspire every young girl out there and encourage more males to participate and collaborate with us in empowering women and young. Thank you very much, organizers.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Bilkis.
And thank you for the new word, the Osage. I've been looking for a way to it.
The Osage effect.
I love your background.
Thank you.
Beautiful ocean.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Mary, we want to visit that beach with you.
It was in the Caribbean.
You just made us, Dr. Mary, with COVID, we've not gone to any beach since.
Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dr. Mary, Dr. Seji, God bless you. God bless you. Thank you for being here for YDF all the time.
Bless you too.
Apologies to everybody who could not join. Our 100 people is well with us.
Dr. Ava and Dr. Chioma, can I just greet Madam National President, Dr.
Yes, you can, Madam Chairman, ma.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Yeti Doc Oludare. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair.
Enjoy the lecture.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Well done.
Well done, well done. Thank you all.
Okay.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
So they're asking for the recorded video. We will send it and we'll upload it on
Yes,
YouTube.
yes.
Once we upload
Immediately
it
it
on
becomes available.
yes, we'll work
Immediately
on it.
becomes available, we'll record it.
I finally learned how to download the recording and upload on YouTube. So I'm moving up.
Hallelujah.
The editorial assistant had to teach me after he learned from Dr. Nodi. So gradually we
Okay.
are getting there. I will still
Yes,
go
that's
back.
a good one. Thank God, ma.
Yes, I'll still
The
go back
next
to
one
the
is for
video,
your computer to
editing course.
behave so that you can share your slides yourself. That is the next one.
The problem now is that I have a Smiley modem and I connected it, but it did not, it could be, the laptop could not, it could not link up, whether the network was low or whatever. So, and again, it also depends on where we are in the house. So that is something else. I may have to be changing location when I'm having Zoom meetings to get to where there is a better network. But I have made investments on that. So
Yes,
I do not know if the Smiley didn't work. We'll just keep trying until we get it right. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you,
have
ma.
a nice day. God bless
Thank you,
you
ma.
all.
God bless you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. I can't wait for COVID to be over, ma, so I can be your handbag and be going with you. Thank you, ma. Auntie Lola, thank you for being here. Auntie Lola, thank you. It's nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Well done.
Well done. Dr. Owama. Well done, ma. I have to send you a message. I don't know what happened to our Zoom. As far in December when we paid, it was 500 persons I saw when we paid.
There have been lots of complaints from everywhere.
I was shocked when I got the first message that said it was filled, because this was what happened at our ethics webinar.
Moderators, you know, you're planning to send the recordings to people, so we can do behind the scenes. Yeah.
Okay, no, but we can. Okay, that's true.
Dr. Yancy working behind
Thank
the
you very
scenes.
much, Dr.
Thank you so much. You guys are super. I mean,
Dr. Yancy
my
working
work
behind
is
the
done.
scenes.
Dr.
Thank you,
Choma,
ma'am.
Dr.